Alright guys, I'm Tom, welcome to the UK National Championship for HADO. We're based here in Coventry Arena, so thank you very much for being put on there. We've got 8 of the best teams in the UK all competing to see who is the best. We've got basically starting from a knockout, so it's going to be best 2 out of 3 games. And we've got effectively the quarterfinals happening first, going into then some semi-finals and playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see who's actually the winners, and then at the end we're going to go through the winners for the entire year, because we've had various cups, so we've had the Spring Cup and various others, and we'll be giving out various awards. So join us, and hopefully we're going to be on to some good games very shortly. I'm going to head to the commentary booth, and hopefully you'll enjoy the commentary. Thanks very much, see you in a sec. And we should be on me now, hopefully. So welcome to the HADO UK Championships here at the Coventry Arena. We're basically very much looking forward to a bunch of games. Just looking at my spreadsheet in front of me that's telling me what's going on. So I'll go through very quickly which order the games are going to be in. We've got 8 of the best teams in the UK. The teams are Oblivion, currently ranked. I mean, these are based on rankings for the rest of the year, but ranked in first place, likely to do well this tournament. Team No, very close in second there. Warp Star and War Pigs, they're 2 different teams. We've got Devourers, Wolfpack, BSOD, and War Piglets. So, first game's likely going to be a Team Oblivion versus War Piglets. So this is the sort of ranked first best team against the 8th team. So the chances are Oblivion, which is going to be in red, is going to do well here against the War Piglets. Effectively, in these this early quarterfinals, the teams, based on how they perform the rest of the year, have got a preferential spot, effectively. So if you've been first all the rest of the tournaments this year, you're going to have the advantage of going against the 8th best team. So we'll see what happens. Second is going up against 7th and so on. So what will then happen is we'll go through semi-finals after we've had the first 4 matches, and then get on to the rest of the tournament. So for those of you who don't know what HADO is an augmented reality sport. On your screen, you can see some floating markers in the middle of the court there. They are what the various teams are going to be aiming at. They've got 4 petals on them. That is your sort of life marker. And that moves as you dodge. So as you move your head, that petal's going to move with you. And the enemy team are going to be trying to shoot up it and predict where you're going to be. If they take out all 4 of those petals, that's 1 point for your team. And that opponent player is out for 3 seconds. And then they're back in. Each round is going to be 80 seconds long. So it's not long on the clock. It's very adrenaline-filled. And as I said, this is a knockout, so it's going to be best 2 out of 3 games. Again, a lot of these times it might be just 2 games, because if one team does particularly well, they'll knock out. You can have overtime at the end of 80 seconds. So if both teams are drawn at the end of the 80 seconds round, it will go to overtime. And overtime is sudden death, effectively. The first team to get a knockout on the other team will win. So here you've got Team Oblivion on the red side there on the court. As you can see, the tracking systems are all tracking their positions based on their head position. And their arms are controlling whether they fire or not. So if you see their arm up in the air, that's a good chance that they're charging energy to fire a shot. And if they go down, straight down by their side, then they'll be charging those shields. You can see a shield there on the left-hand side. What that is a one-way shield. So effectively, you can shoot through it. The enemy team can't shoot back. It can only absorb a certain number of hits, and then it will go down. There are stats. We'll go through that depending on how quick this game goes. But effectively, you can change how fast your orb is, how big it is, how much energy you have to charge, so how many shots you can fire, and how many shields. But I think we're going to get started, so we won't have time to talk about that in detail. Let's watch the match and see what happens. Okay, so I can just hear the judges getting ready to start the game in the background. They've got 5 seconds before the start of the match. That was a 5-second call, and it will come up in a second, and we'll get going. Okay, so looking at those stats, we've got a shootout coming from the guys on the left there, and a shootout, I believe, coming from the guys on the right. So nothing fancy, no massive shield plays, I don't think, on this particular first game. It's going to be a balance of dodging and shooting ability. Oblivion on the left are the favourites in this match. As you can see, they're quite good at moving. They're already aggressively taking the centre of the court, which is got to be intimidating if the other team, because now all of a sudden you're backed up against that back wall, and it's difficult to get out of those positions. It also, there you go, nice push from player 4, trying to draw fire from his team, but unfortunately getting knocked out as he pushed forwards. Lovely knockout there, however, coming back from the blue team, getting some points back on the board. War Piglets not giving up just yet. Again, player 4 pushing forward, trying to get some ground in the middle of the court. The problem is, as soon as he does that, the enemy team, Oblivion, are absolutely targeting them. We've got a bunch of assassin builds effectively out of the Oblivion team, so they're confident in their dodging ability. They've taken a low charge rate, but in return they've managed to get a bunch of orbs to quite high speed and size in comparison to their opposition. To be fair to their opposition, I think they've gone for a similar setup actually. So it's effectively 3 assassins playing against 3 other assassins. Again, fair cop to War Piglets for getting some points on the board here. This was a commanding lead. Oh, final point there coming in at the end. Commanding lead from Oblivion. I mean, every single player scoring points. Their player 1 obviously got 12. Absolutely fair play to them. But all of them just basically pushing the front line. Again, player 5, shout out on War Piglets. Only one managing to get some points. Looking to get some snipes in there from the corner. Shows some good accuracy. 65% from player 1. That's an incredibly good accuracy rating. And 33 shots. Very good. Again, looking at the stats, we've got most movement out of blue player 4. He was doing his best to try and draw fire. It's tough, because when you come down the middle of the court like that, you end up getting all 3 of the opposition trying to push you. All right, here we go, coming back to me. So, I'll talk a bit more about those stats very quickly, because that is going to be a key thing moving through the day. So when you're setting up for the match, you've got 4 stats you can pick. You can pick your speed of your energy orb, the scale of the energy orb, so how large it is. Speed obviously corroborates as to how fast it travels across the pitch. You've got your charge rate, so how fast when you've got your arm upright are you charging shots, and then when you're throwing them out like that means you're firing one. The higher charge rate, the more shots you can fire. If you have a charge rate of 5, I think the most I've ever seen is 99 in a match, 99 shots in a match, whereas that last game we saw a low charge rate, so most people were firing, I think, maximum 33, something like that. Then the final stat is shields. So what shields do is it's the number of shields you get in a match. You can have up to 5 points in each of these stats. You can have up to 5 shields, and each of those shields is then stronger, so they can absorb more shots. The downside of somebody taking a shield is you then generally have less points to distribute into your shooting. So if a shield play comes out, it requires your team to work with you, so effectively to make use of those shields. So if you see a good shield, what they'll do is they'll push to the front maybe, put up a shield, get out of the way to get one of their teammates who can shoot, and it's a good way to take the middle ground. So it'll be interesting to see. I think we might get a shield play coming out of the blue team here. This is just a guess based on that shield that's in the middle of the court looks particularly strong to me. Now, the other thing to note is the other team have worked that out. Yes, there we go. So player 6 is a shielder. So they're going to be trying to push forward from the blue team to basically put some shields up. But again, player 1, oh, in fact, shields coming out from the red team as well. Interesting. So we've got 2 level 4 shields coming out from the red team. So these guys are trying something different. They're going a bit more defensive. Lovely work. Okay. And then what they're doing is getting player 2 in behind it to get some good knockouts. So it feels like what they're doing is prioritising shielding player 2 and allowing them to get some knockouts. The blue team really need to push with their shielder right now, although I think he's waiting for the opportune moment. There we go. But the problem is he's going to get sniped from the left-hand side. That shield's slightly angled to the right, which means that player 2 and player 3 can get shots on him. Although, good enough. Gets another one up before he gets knocked out. Well played. This is a much tighter game. Absolutely good play from player 4 there, trying to push forwards, drawing some fire from his team, but also getting the angles around those shields and putting pressure on the opposite team. 30 seconds left on the clock at the moment. This is looking quite safe for Oblivion. They've got a 6-1 lead. It's tough to turn around from that, but not as dominating on points as we saw in the last game. Again, I think they're taking this as a bit of a practice opportunity to try a tactic in case they want to try and use it later. It also may confuse some of their later teams. Nice shot there coming out. Player 4 absolutely putting himself on the line out here on the left-hand side. But in a good way. He basically put himself in a dangerous spot to try and draw fire away from his team. Again there, you can see player 2 getting most of the points for Oblivion. This makes sense. He was being shielded by the rest of his team. And good play, fundamentally, showing some variation in what they can do. Often teams will get stuck with a tactic that they like that they think is going to work for them. So again, I'm not sure if I've seen Oblivion using shields like that before. If I have, I've forgotten about it. I normally think of them as a kind of shoot-out, dodging, shooting team. Again, War Piglets doing some good stuff there. Lovely attempt to use some shields. It was a good patient use of shields as well. The thing is, when there's two of the other team using shields and you've only got one person using shields, it's an interesting one because you can get drawn into a shootout effectively. But in that case, War Piglets being very calm and collected, just waited for an opportune moment to try and put shields up and then get his teammates behind it. On the shield positioning, generally what you want to do is position it at the front of the court, slightly angled in, and so that means if you're protected from cross shots. The downside of one of the shields, I think the first shield that we saw coming out of the blue team, is he'd angled it the other way, and what that meant is it actually opened them up for cross shots from across the pitch. Now, interestingly, they didn't actually get knocked out for it, but that is sort of a tactical problem, if that makes sense. So, Oblivion, the clear winners of the first set of quarterfinals. I think we'll be moving on to the next team, which is going to be Team No. Let me just check my notes here. Versus BSOD. So Team No is going to be on the left-hand side in red, and BSOD is going to be in blue. I think for the most part, the higher ranked teams out of the two is generally going to be on the red side. So if you see the red team, they're generally going to be the favourites for these first sort of 4 matches, or 4 games, I should say. So now we've talked about the practicalities of how to play the sport. Let's see what tactics people come up with. Generally speaking, there are sort of three or four roles, but the main roles are assassin. If I talk about an assassin, what I'm talking about is somebody who's got a low charge rate, but they've put their points into some other element of shooting. So be it speed or orb size, and their aim is to try and get knockouts on the enemy team with their fast orbs. In fact, there you go. Player 3 is looking like an assassin right now. I can tell from the size of his orb. The downside is you don't have as much charge rate. Now, the next role is technician. Technicians have a high charge rate, and what that is for putting pressure on the opposition, keeping them moving, but also dealing with shields. Because with shields, it's the number of shots that go into a shield that take it down, not the size or anything like that. So if you have a high technician with a high charge rate, they can fire 99 shots. That's a lot of shots that they can use to take down shields and keep the enemy team moving around. And then the final one is shielders, which you've just seen are people who are going to be primarily trying to buff their teammates with a shield to get them into a good position on the court. But here we go. Team No versus BSOD, I think. Let me just check. I've got that right. Yeah, BSOD. Player 1 immediately pushing to the front of the court, trying to get a first quick shot. I'm guessing he's got a high charge rate. Yeah, he's got a charge rate of 4, so he's playing a technician role. He's probably done that to just basically make sure that they can deal with the shields, which player 6 just put up. Good communication, I can hear them shouting, so effectively they just called out, I'm going to put a shield up on the left. Now, that player is basically sat there, two shields in fact, trying to get some knockouts. Their aim here is get a knockout before they run out of shields, and then they're going to just have to absolutely dodge. The problem is they're going through shields quite quick because the red team was sensible and bought a technician in case this happened. So as soon as these shields go down, the effectiveness of the blue team is going to drop through the floor. And the problem is red team aren't doing a good enough job here to dodge and still getting points through those shields. Blue team are about to be very much on the back foot for the last 30 seconds. They've still got one more shield, but they really need to get a knockout. There we go, got one knockout on the board. 20 seconds remaining. Can we get another one? Using his own shield, player 4 now. Okay, that's it. They're out of shield. So at this point, they need to dodge and shoot. Lovely knockout from player 4. Fundamentally, you should just left him on his own the whole time. He's absolutely being targeted by the entire enemy team because they know he's the only one that can knock them out. At this point, he is the only threat. But he's doing an absolutely amazing job at still dodging and getting some shots on target. Fair cop to player 4. That was actually very good play from him for the fact that he got most of his knockouts at the end. Obviously, if he'd got his eye in earlier, that'd been great. But part of it is, while they had those shields up, Team No were doing an excellent job at just upping their dodging ability, because at that point, they just very easily, they don't need to aim as much because they're just aiming at shields. So they can very quickly fire whilst keeping quite mobile. Hitting a player is actually a lot more difficult than it is to hit a shield. So what basically happened there is Team No were like, okay, we'll just shoot these shields down, and then we'll worry about it later, stay calm. Number of shots fired, 80 coming out of the technician in No. It's very good that they took a technician. If they hadn't taken a technician, that could have got them into a lot of trouble. Because if they hadn't got a technician, they wouldn't have got through the shields as quick, and it would have been less pressure, basically, on the blue team. So BSOD trying an out-of-the-box tactic there. I think the last time I saw a two-shield tactic coming out like that in a tournament was probably the French team, who did it really well, actually. So the difficulty with shields is it takes more teamwork to effectively get your team together. So if I put a shield up, I've now got to either get out of the way. In that case, what they actually did was form a very tight group, and they've got 3 of them in there. And they actually exfiltrated from that position quite well, because what's very easy sometimes is you get in there, and the enemy team can knock your shield down, you're stuck, and you're all standing together, so you can't dodge, whereas those guys got in and out actually quite well. Okay, so let's see. Are we going to get a change up in tactics? No one seems to be putting any shields up at the start, which is generally an indication that they're trying to keep their cars close to the chest. At this point, they're logged into the game, so they can actually see each other's effects. No one's firing, so no one's trying to give away to the other team what stats they've chosen. This is tactically getting nerve-wracking now. So even I don't know. Normally I'll have a guess at this point, but I haven't got a clue with these 2 teams. Okay, so we've got a single shield coming out of the blue team, and same sort of build from the red team. So we've got a technician role there, player 1, giving himself away as a technician because he's immediately trying to push forwards, knowing he's got a high charge rate to try and get an early knockout. Okay, so they're currently targeting player 6 and or 5. Now the thing is, when the blue player pushes forward for his shields, there you go. So you saw he had to drop his arm. He wasn't able to get as far forward as he probably hoped because of the amount of shots that started to come at him. However, red team aren't shooting that shield down too quick because at the moment they're trying to nullify player 4 and player 6 because they know that that's actually where the threat's coming from. And at the minute, the blue team aren't getting behind those shields. So fundamentally, those shields are pretty much a waste of time. All they're doing is trying to distract but not achieving it. There we go. That's a much better position shield. He's got in front of his teammate player 4. Player 6 immediately pushing forward to try and take up that space that player 5 removed himself from. Again, absolutely, to be fair, cop to them, BSOD doing very well considering their shield positioning was less than ideal. There we go. That's a good shield position. Player 4 is going to try and take advantage of that. Now, the best thing for him to be doing would be to try and get some cross shots, which he is trying to do. So what he's doing is he's trying to hit the player in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen on the red team, player 2. Unfortunately, player 2 is wise to his tricks and is doing a very good job of dodging, even though he's looking forwards. So it's difficult in this game because your good shot there from player 2. Sorry, I think it was player 4. I'm not sure. I'm out of breath. Fast-paced games here. These guys are mixing it up very quickly. It was good to see some change of tactics coming out of the BSOD, and actually very close game considering that Team No is basically quite a high-ranked position. Now, there is an element in this game. Don't get misled by the fact that, for example, in the first game, Oblivion got such a high score and Team No didn't in this game. There is an element of you getting a good lead and then being a bit more defensive. Because if you go on the attack and you keep trying to get knockouts, you can actually lose the game. Because by being aggressive, sometimes you can open yourself up to being shot. The main risk in this sport generally is getting shot from somewhere you're not seeing. If you're against the back wall, you've got good vision on the whole court, and you can generally see most of the orbs or who's looking at you. Generally, you don't want to wait for an orb to come at you. You want to be dodging at the point where you think someone's shooting at you, so they turn to look at you, for example. The problem with being aggressive is if you push to the front line, it's far easier for you to get shot from the side where you've got your peripheral vision is less good, and you don't actually get to see the graphics coming from the side of you because the graphics are in front of you. So fundamentally, shooting people from the side is the best way to get people out. So if you hear me shouting someone should be cross-shotting, that's what I'm talking about. In that last game, there were some good cross-shots coming in from BSOD on Team No, but again, Team No knew what that was doing, kept themselves at the back, kept their point lead, and just took their time. So nice and calm and controlled. So let's have a look at the next coming up match. These are getting closer and closer because we're getting to the sort of 3rd versus 6th team, the 4th versus 5th. So the last game in this series of 4 that we're going to have is probably going to be the closest, but we'll see. Any of these teams could take any of the others. In fact, Wolfpack, that's in the 6th edition, I've seen them play before. They are very good. So at the moment, we're going to have Warpstar, who are technically ranked 3rd at the moment, up against Wolfpack, who are in the 6th position. We shall see how this goes. I've seen both of these teams play before. I remember Wolfpack being a youngish team who play quite aggressively at times. And there we go. We've got Warpstar coming out. And there's a lot of small orbs coming out there. Have they remembered to set their stats? They were travelling quite quick. So maybe they've gone for some small orbs. We shall see. Maybe a couple of technicians. Maybe they know something I don't. Maybe they think the Wolfpack's going to do a shield or something. But yeah, basically at the moment, I have no clue what these teams are going to do. Often in some of the more stressful tournaments, people fall back on tried and tested tactics. Like, if you think you're good at shootout, you just stick with a shootout. But this tournament, everyone's pretty confident they're all good. So what that means is they're going to feel more free to come up with flexible plays. And I expect that as we've seen from the previous matches, some mixing it up with dodging and various things like that. Again, so you're going to have on the red team, it's going to be Warp Star. They're going to be on the left, and you're going to have on the blue team Wolfpack. Again, it's worth noting, if you hear any shouting, we're just next to the court. There can often be teammates off the court as well who will be shouting advice, because you have a lot to consider when you're playing. You only have 80 seconds. There's a lot going on. You've got to dodge a lot of stuff. There's stuff coming at you. You've got a heads-up display that gives you a lot of information. So there's lots of stuff you're trying to track all at the same time. So having a teammate off the pitch who's shouting some advice or support or noting something to you is often quite handy. Okay, we've got 5 seconds. We just had a 5-second call. And here we go. Standing by. Warp Star versus Wolfpack. Okay, so we've got a shielder on the left-hand side and a technician role. So we've got a mix between a shield and a technician on the left. They've covered their bases, whereas Wolfpack are going for a more standard shootout, but they've got 2 technicians. So that's good, because they'll be able to have a high rate of fire against the shields when it goes up. I think at the moment they probably are targeting the middle player, because they've worked out that he is a technician. Sorry, a shielder, because his orbs are quite small. So if they can knock him out, there we go, his arm's gone down. I don't like that shield position. Putting a shield in the middle of that is not a great idea. But player 1 just buying himself some time while... Okay, so at the minute, what they're actually doing, I go wrong, they're trying to nullify player 1 because they know he's the best shot. Okay, there we go. So, red team getting a shield up, getting their best shot in behind it, immediately gets a knockout. You see these cross shots coming in from the corner. Player 5, absolutely in a fight for his life at the moment. But still getting a knockout from Team Blue, so you've got to give them credit. Wolfpack not giving up at this point. Their technician is trying to take that shield down as quick as they can. But again, red team have gone through 5 shields in a very rapid succession, but they've already got the point lead. So this is going to be tough for Wolfpack to pull back. They were playing very well, however. They made the right choices. Target the technician on the shield, try and get it down as quickly as they can. They did actually go through those 5 shields relatively quickly, but unfortunately it might not be enough here for Team No getting a nice early lead. So obviously the main part of this sport is going to come down to your ability to dodge. Player 1, absolute credit for the number of knockouts they got there. Player 2, though, fair cop, because player 2 wasn't getting the advantage of a shield, and they were still managing to get sort of almost half the knockouts to their team. So that was absolutely well played from Team No. However, Warp Star. However, Wolfpack doing a very good job at trying to take those shields down. Let's have a look. 71 shots coming out of one of the players on the blue team there. Good numbers. If I remember correctly, they had a charge rate of 4. So, yeah, effectively, how would I deal with that? Technician. So the technician, when the shields go up, the technician's job is to start tapping those shields down. Now, it is worth noting the shields get weaker over time. So the problem you've got there is that the red team basically stacked all their shields. So as a technician, it's almost impossible to get through that. All you're trying to do is speed up the process if you're getting through it. Because while that enemy team player is so close to the front line like that and is an assassin who's a good shot. And that was really good actually played from Warp Star on how to use those shields. Get one of your best shots up to the front corner of the pitch. Allow them to be taking cross shots whilst being safe. And again, they used them in a short time frame, but that was because Wolfpack did a good job at taking them down fundamentally. Now, the only thing that Wolfpack could try and do in that situation is push the front left-hand corner of the pitch, for example, and shoot around that shield if the shield position's not as strong. But to be fair to Warp Star, they actually did very good positioning on their shields. It was right on the line. It was slightly angled and basically in a good position to protect their players. Okay, so another shield play coming out. We've got 2 charge 4s coming out from the blue team now, so they get a higher charge rate because they knew that shield's coming out and they need to deal with it. So they're going to try and hammer those shields down as quick as they can. The other thing they can try and do, so at the minute they're trying to nullify players 1 and 2 because they know that's where the knockouts are coming from. But when player 3 pushes forwards to try and put those shields up, what they need to do is then switch to that player and try and knock them out before they get into that position to knock them out. So you want to save a bit of charge. Okay, player 3's waiting for the time, so clearly what they're doing is a timed element of we're going to use our shields from a certain time to another time. Now, the minute, if this carries on as it is, actually Wolfpack are in a good position because at the moment, the shields haven't gone up. Shields are going up soon. There we go. She's trying to come forward now. Okay, shield is in a good position. Player 1. Now, they need to take those shields down, quick time, whilst keeping dodging. Lovely bit of a counter shield. Just give them a couple of seconds of shooting. They seem to be ignoring the shields, though, because because what they're trying to do is get a knockout on the team player number 2 while he's in the open. That might be a mistake. If they could have got those shields down quicker, they might be in a better position. It's tough though. It's a difficult one. Because fundamentally, you've still got a target out there. Yeah, at this point, 10 seconds left. Chances are the Wolfstar's going to take it. Wolfpack absolutely doing brilliantly. The reason I said that they might be in a really good position is before the shield's gone up, it was 0-0. And at that point, if the shields had gone up and they'd been able to deal with it and get them down quickly, then they'd have been in a position to win, because fundamentally they'd already shown they could survive in a straight shootout against that build. I think the downside they had there was they had 2 technicians, which if you're not going to shoot the shields, probably is not ideal, because actually what you want is, yes, a technician to try and keep the other player moving. It's handy, but you want probably 2 assassins maybe and a technician if you're going to ignore the shield. Or the thing is, if you went 3 assassins and the enemy team realised, what they would actually do is put their shields up not on one side. They wouldn't have left that player hanging. They'd have come and put shields in front of both. So you do still need to have that technician just to threaten that you're going to take the shield down, and it forces the players to put it into a certain position. Wolfpack, their player, coming across the pitch to give someone a nice handshake. Absolutely good sportsmanship from both teams. So that was Warpstar versus Wolfpack, and Warpstar took the lead there, but very close. So up next, we're going to have Warpigs versus Devourers. Now, this is a really interesting one. So Warpigs are a really interesting team. They only started playing this year. They came in basically at the start of the year and have been just getting better and better as the year went on. I think their first tournament this year, they came, I think, last. But they're now sort of ranked 4th in only a year. So they're a very good team. Up against the Devourers. I don't know the Devourers too well. I'm not sure if I've seen them before. Sometimes we have teams get renamed. So if I have, and I've commentated you before, I apologise that I've forgotten. I trying to keep track of these team names sometimes is a bit difficult. But this is going to be a close one. So this is the 4th and 5th ranked team. So this could go either way. I believe Warpigs might be one of the teams that's based out of Wales. We saw some of the Welsh teams playing against the home nations, or in the home nations last week against some of the English teams. But we shall see what's happening. Sorry, the tech team is in the corner having a bit of a chat. Things are looking good. All right, so we're going to have Warpigs are going to be on red. We're going to have the Devourers on blue. Normally, at this point in the tournament, I'd be making some predictions about what tactics I think people are going to do, but I absolutely don't have a clue, because each team, basically, all the teams so far today, have shown a breadth of knowledge and understanding that is very good. Like, it's difficult to explain, but it's only experienced teams that actually start mixing up their tactics during a 3-match game. 3 matches is not a lot, but after the first game loss, you sometimes have to change up what you're doing, because if it's not working, you need to try something else. But the thing is, you don't actually see that a lot. A lot of teams will just stick with the same tactic, and they'll figure, oh, we messed it up. Like, maybe I didn't position my shield right. We can get it right next time. But it's actually brave to just go, no, we're switching to a backup plan. But that's what you need to do, because sometimes that's what it takes to throw the opposition off of their game. So this is exciting so far. This is we're going to have, let's say, Warpigs versus Devourers. Not sure who's going to win. I'm almost certain I have seen the Devourers before, in fact. We've got a younger team there, but I remember their tops. So pressure's here on Warpigs. They're going to be trying to maintain their position and make sure that they get a good result here, so they can push through to a better position in the upcoming semi-finals, is it? Yeah, semi-finals after this. Sorry, my brain is melted. All right, here we go. All right, no shields, so straight shootout. And again, I just heard somebody in the audience shout no shields. So literally before the game's even started, they all know. This is a new thing, that the teams are starting to have callers off the pitch making calls to them. So this is going to come down to who's better at dodging, who's better at shooting. So you got lots of volleys there coming out of the team on the left, the Welsh team, Warpigs. Nice 1-1. This is close. 2-1. Player 3 pushing forward. He's a very good player. He likes to push the front line. He's drawing fire for his team and doing a good job of getting out there, changing his height. Height changes in this game is a very important thing. We often get it where people are thinking, a smaller team of height makes them have an advantage because he's got to aim down. But actually, a tall player who can change his height very high to low is very good. Lovely push there from Warpigs, both at the same time, pushing to the front line, trying to be aggressive. Is it going to pay out? They did manage to get the knockout. But Devourers remaining calm and just trying to get those knockouts. 30 seconds left. This could go either way. There are 3 points on the board at any one time. Here we go, though. Devourers starting to come back. Tying it up. 20 seconds left. This is so exciting. Warpigs just need to get a knockout or stay calm. There we go. Can Devourers draw it back to a draw? Can they even take a lead? If they can get to a draw and take it to overtime, it could go either way. Warpigs staying calm. Staying at the back line. Lovely player one coming in for a nice push, trying to get himself a knockout. I'll be honest, that was really tense. That was really well played from both teams. It was so close. Again, there was a point there. I've got to give the Devourers credit where Warpigs had a timed push where they came to the front of the pitch at about 40 seconds. They clearly had a plan to push forward, use all their shields. And it didn't work out very well for them because Devourers actually just remained calm. I think they maybe lost one knockout, but fundamentally, for a nice team work, aggressive play like that, you'd expect hopefully more of an impact. So absolutely well played, both teams, but slightly more accuracy there coming out of the Warpigs. You can see there, 23-24. That's a good sign that both teams are dodging very well. So this is coming down to accuracy. Now, the problem is, when you're getting shot at, it's very difficult to shoot accurately because you are dodging with your head movement because the tracker mount follows your head. But you're also aiming with your head position. So where you have your head facing is where your shot is going to go. So effectively, if I'm looking at you like this, that's where my shot's firing. If I've got a dodge as well, all of a sudden, it's actually quite difficult for me to keep my head on target. You're also trying to predict where the opposition's going to be. Because if you shoot where they are, they're going to move. So you've got to maybe fire a shot at them to make them move to a wall, and then fire another shot to hit them. So, yeah, teamwork's also important. You see volleys coming out. The Welsh team there, Warpigs, doing a very good job at doing volley fire, basically making it difficult for people to dodge. But we shall see. Again, the main thing that I'm going to give a shout out to there is although Devourers remain calm through the whole thing, Warpigs actually showing signs of some really high-level tactics. Being able to time like a push to the front line like that halfway through a game is tough. Most teams will try and do that, at the start of a game, because the thing is they do have a timer and they can kind of work out when 40 seconds is. A lot of teams actually use the music because there's music playing in the background that's very specific to the game. And when the music changes tempo, that might be a signal for them to do a play. But here we go. We've got 5 seconds. We best get back to the court. So here we go. We're going to have the next round here between Warpigs and Devourers. Let's see if Devourers can pull it back. Okay, so there was a call of silver of 6, but unfortunately, I don't think that they realised there's actually 2 shielders. So a call just went out to Warpigs that I don't think they realised that there's 2 shielders. So they're going to be looking at player 6 thinking he's the only shielder, but player 4 also has shields. Very quick to deal with those shields, though. Warpigs very quickly targeting those shields, doing an excellent job to take them down. The thing is, if they can get through these shields and there's no knockouts on the boards, it's going to be in the favour of Warpigs. Player 4 needs to come forwards now. He's trying to put his shields up as well. Double shield play. Player 6, unfortunately, is out in the middle of nowhere. Getting his knockouts, though. So this is doing good. Devourers absolutely doing a brilliant job. All they need to do now is get as many points as they can and then just dodge. They've got 36 seconds left. Now, they're not going to be able to do a lot. Warpigs are about to have to go on the offensive. As soon as these shields come down, they're going to have to push that front line and try and get some knockouts. There we go. Player 3 already pushing forward, getting a knockout. This is it. Warpigs on the return. Can they get it back straight away to 3-all? If this goes to overtime, the favourite is in Warpigs' favour. Lovely work, however, from the Devourers. Still getting a knockout with only... Oh, dear. Here we go. Lovely work, Devourers. Come on, you can do it. 5-all. Are we going to see an overtime play? But Devourers trying to hang in there, doing their absolute best to dodge. Their player who's getting these knockouts. Right, the pressure is here. If Devourers win this, I'll be amazed because Warpigs have the favour here. They've got all the shooting stats. Devourers have no shields. So there's only one of their team who's got any shooting stats left. We're going to see what happens. Here we go. First knockout wins. Oh, lovely work there from Warpigs. Staying calm. They identified who it was that was getting all the points for the Devourers. So in that quick 10-second break between the end of the match and the overtime, they clearly said to each other, target player 5, because fundamentally he's the only threat at this point. And unfortunately, poor player 5 only had one marker left. Really difficult for him to pull that back for his team. But again, Devourers throwing up an unusual play. 2 shielders and playing it absolutely brilliantly. Really good positioning from the shields on that front corner. Got their shooter in behind it. Other teammate who was the shielder stayed out of the way and then came back at the right time. And then the original shielder also did a brilliant job. Because after he's done with all their shields, pulled back to the right-hand corner of the pitch and tried to draw fire. So Devourers absolutely pulling off a really good performance there. But really tough. Apologies, I got a bit carried away in that one. I definitely was a bit louder than normal. So hopefully I came to the mic all right and I didn't break any levels or anything. Again, player 5 there 35%. Absolute credit to player 6 as well. Getting a knockout when you've got a speed scale of 1 is actually really tough. So fair cop to that. That's a good shot halfway through. And again, there, player 5 still getting knockouts despite the shields being gone. So, absolute credit. My heart rate is up. Hopefully you are enjoying this at home. Feel free to send some messages in if we see them. In fact, I'm going to try and get my stream up in the background so I can make sure and check to see if anyone's chatting about anything. But yeah, absolutely brilliant play there from some of these teams. That last game or match was a nail biter. So what have we got next? Let's have a look. That was the quarterfinals. So we're going to go on. Oh, hang on. Yep. Bear with me. I'm just looking at my spreadsheet. That was all the quarterfinals. So we're going on to the semi-finals. So we know who's going to be playing who so far in the semi-finals. So I'll go through these very quickly. So we're going to have Oblivion is going to be playing. Let me just double check these are right. These are right, correct? What it says in the semi-finals is currently correct, I guess. Yes, perfect. I'm getting thumbs up. So we're going to have Oblivion is going to end up versus Warpigs. And then we're going to have Warpstar is going to go up against Team No. What will then happen after the semi-finals is we'll end up with an elimination set of rounds. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. So I've just been told we're going to do the elimination rounds first, and then we're going to go into those semi-finals. So the elimination rounds are actually going to be Wolfpack versus BSOD. Then it's going to be War Piglets versus Devourers. And then we'll do Warpstar versus No and Oblivion versus Warpigs. Sorry, it's in reverse order to what's on my screen, so we're all good. So this is going to be Wolfpack is going to be on the left in red, and that's versus BSOD, who are going to be on the blue side. Oh, right. Tactics. I mean, I'll go on and be honest, I'm not going to be calling any tactics today because genuinely all these teams are pulling out such good plays. And that's part of the tactic, right, is not giving away to the opposition what's going on, which is tough to do. Because here, for example, currently the teams are just setting themselves stats up and about to go onto the court or are on the court. And when you are out there, it's very easy to try and check that your tech's working by firing some shots. But if you do that, you're telegraphing to the opposite team what your plays are, basically. So my money on this one, let's have a look. I mean, this is a tough one. Because this is effectively the 6th and 7th ranked team up against each other. So the favour might be towards the red team, the Wolfpack. Okay, so technicians come now. We've got Shielder. So we've got 2 technicians in Wolfpack. And they do have a shield and blue. So this could work out quite well. But they need to make sure they take those shields down. I don't want them shooting around it like they did in the last game. They've got 1 assassin. Lovely work taking out player 5 early on, getting a nice point lead. Player 6 there looking for an opportunity to come forward in a minute. He's going to drop his arm. And when that happens, if Wolfpack spot it, they're going to take him out. Now, he's already telegraphed that he's a shielder. There we go. Got a shield coming in. Lovely work. He worked behind his teammate and got into a good position. He's doing 2 shields. So he's basically trying to get in a good position to help his team. Player 5 pushing up the right-hand side of the pitch as well. Absolutely good work. Push Wolfpack against the wall. Wolfpack need to sustain, take those shields down. That's it. It's very difficult because it feels intimidating to not want to put shots into those shields, but they've got them down. And now it's swung back into Wolfpack's favour because the shields have mostly gone from BSOD. They do still have 2 left. They need to use them now because they've only got 20 seconds left. So player 6 needs to get that shield up. And his teammates need to get up there and use it. Okay, he's used the shield. So now player 6 needs to get out of the way so his teammates can get behind it. But unfortunately, because of where he stood, it's difficult for his teammate to actually get in behind it. Which means that they're not getting the advantage of those shields. It's a very minor mistake, but BSOD just need to work on that, extricating themselves after putting shield up. Players 5 and 4, however, are doing an absolute job trying to push forwards and get knockouts, playing aggressively at the end there to try and pull it back, which is nice. It's tough when you're getting shot at accurately by an enemy team who've got, at that point, more charge rate than you, to actually push that front line, but you've got to do it, and absolute credit to them for doing so. Again, 71 metres moved from player 5, couple of knockouts from player 1. Low scoring round, but generally no stats jumping out at me as particularly insane. But I mean, look at these stats in comparison for the hit rate. 30%-ish maybe is the maximum, 29.4 against, we had like, what, 68 earlier? Accuracy is a very good indicator of how well you're shooting, fundamentally. If you have And it does go to show how well the enemy team is dodging as well, right? Because if you go up against a team who's absolutely amazing dodging, you can get the best shot ever. It is very difficult to hit them. What you have to do at that point, it's almost a game of chess. You have to kind of push them into a corner, or you have to predict. So you have to kind of fire a shot to try and make them dodge in a way that you know you're going to see. Which, talking about that, we're going to talk about patterns. When these teams have played each other a fair amount, but part of it is trying to work out your opponent and the person you're lined up against. You'll notice there's a bit of switching where occasionally some people are moving from one side of the court to the other. If you get statically in front of somebody and you're losing that shootout against the person in front of you, one tactic to try and mix it up is switch sides of the court. So you and your teammates switch sides. You've got to try and do that without running into your own teammates. Nowadays, you'll see that a lot of the tournaments, people are playing at the back of the court, and then they'll be pushing to the front. Back when I used to play, the tactics were very different. We had sort of tennis style. We had one person on the front, one person in the middle, one person at the back. The downside of that is there was chances of you lining up. But here we go. Next round up, Wolfpack again on the left, BSOD on the right in blue. Okay, we've got a pretty much rehash of the first game. Same stats. Now, what I want is player 6 to be using those shields slightly better than he did previously. Wolfpack did a good job at taking them down last time. But BSOD can do a good job. Here we go. Perfect. Shields up. Player 6 actually managed to get out of the way, so player 5's in behind it. Still putting on shields. This is good positioning. Lovely work. So, Wolfpack giving a shout, trying to take those shields down. Lovely knockout there, coming out of BSOD. Still got a bit of shield left for that player 5, but he's getting heavily targeted. Still got a couple of shields, if they can use them. So what's happening here is player 5 is doing his best to move to left and right of the court because he's getting heavily targeted and he's spreading out their shots, doing an absolutely good job at dodging. So absolute credit to player 5 and still managed to get a knockout. Clearly he's been identified by Wolfpack as a very good target, likely because it can knock him out. Problem is, at the moment, it's so close, 4-4. If this does go to overtime, however, it should theoretically be in Wolfpack's favour because they have no shields, which means they've got more points into shooting. So absolutely, BSOD hanging in by a thread here. It's coming down to player 5 and 4, but both of them only on one petal. All it's going to take is a slight mix-up by one of them. There we go. Lovely works, player 4 and 5 on BSOD. I'm going to give you a shout-out because you were absolutely trying to carry your team there. Shielder did some good positioning on his shields, but Wolfpack staying calm, trying to keep those shields down, hammering through them as quick as they could, and then doing an amazing job. Nice handshakes going off on court there. But yeah, well played from both teams. Such a close game. 76 metres moved by one of the players. Again, accuracy there up on player 5, 32%. Got 2 knockouts, but got knocked out twice. They identified that he was the threat, and they went, "We're going to make you move." So at which point he did, get shot a lot. Bear with me a minute. I am also trying to get the stream up in the background, and I'm failing horribly. But HADO UK. Right. Bear with me a sec. Here we go. HADO National Championships. I'm only jumping in here to see if anyone's saying anything in the audience. Hopefully it's along the lines of "this is really good and we like your stream," but you never know. There we go. Excellent. Cool. Right. So, who have we got next? We are going to be seeing the War Piglets, another Welsh team, I believe, up against the Devourers. Now, so this is going to be, I think it's going to be in the Devourers' favour, likely. War Piglets were the team who played first against one of the strongest teams, so there's a very good chance that they're going to basically have troubles. What tactics? I think we're going to get a straight, I don't know, it's difficult. We might get a straight shootout coming out of the Devourers. They might feel a bit more confident knowing after that first game about War Piglets and the commanding lead that Oblivion had. I'll be interested to see what War Piglets do, whether they use some kind of tactics to do shields or anything like that. They're currently having a bit of a chat with War Pigs. They're sort of 2 teams that train together. So I can hear them chatting because they're next to me. I don't know what the tactics are. I'm not going to give that away just yet. But they're planning how they're going to try and pull this back. So, War Piglets are going to be on left in red and Devourers are going to be in blue. Unlike most of the other games so far, I'd say the favourites for this match are probably on the blue side at the moment. But I'm very hopeful that the War Piglets are going to be able to pull a fast one and get a good win, basically. you see there, so on the court in front of me, I can see people starting to enter in the stats. In the olden days, you had a wristband that you could control your stats, and you basically could actually see your stats while you're on the court. They've now updated to a new system that you set your stats before you go on the court. You press enter, and it means your stats aren't showing on your wristband. This is a good thing because it means the other team can't see what your stats are. But the downside is, once you're on the court, anything you fire is going to give away information to the other team. In the olden days, you could adjust your stats once you were on the court, whereas nowadays you can't really do that unless you've got a teammate behind you who's able to do it from behind the scenes. So, this is the second elimination round. So this is effectively the loser of the first game, that was the first 8 teams, so War Piglets, versus the Devourers, who had a very, very close game against their team in the last round that they played. As I say, money, if you were a betting man, would probably be on Devourers, but War Piglets could change it up. Let's see what happens. Again, 80 seconds is all that there is on the clock. Lots of stuff can happen within that time. It's very tough as well. What the best thing War Piglets can probably do is try and get an early lead, get some nice aggressive plays in early. I know player 2, for example, I think generally plays quite aggressively, so it wouldn't surprise me if he pushes the front line at some point to try and get themselves a knockout. But here we go, see what happens. Okay, straight shootout, no shields on either team. So, going to come down to shooting and dodging ability. You can see player 2 pushing it early. Player 3 getting a very early knockout. What I think's happened is the Devourers probably identified player 3 as somebody who could get shots on them, but that wasn't necessarily good at dodging, because he got targeted very early. Lovely work here from Devourers. Basically just a wall of energy orbs. Lots of fire coming out, keeping the War Piglets trapped in against the back wall. Lovely knockout onto player 1. He came forward to try and get himself some space, but Devourers knocking him out as he pushed forward. Player 2, good job, pushing forwards. Starting to pull it back from War Piglets. War Piglets starting to pull back 2-3. 40 seconds left on the clock. This could go either way. Absolutely lovely play for the War Piglets, not getting flustered by anything. Bringing it back to 3-all. Player 2 pulling forward, getting a shield up. Lovely position. Lovely cross shot coming in. War Piglets take the lead. Now Devourers under pressure. Can they maintain? Player 6 getting heavily shot at in the middle. He's pushing forward to try and get a better position. He manages to get a knockout, pulls it back to his team. 2 knockouts. Both teams doing an absolutely job, just remaining calm. Lovely shield coming out from player 3. 10 seconds, only 1 point needed. Lovely shield from player 5 from the blue team. Giving themselves a few extra, basically, shots of defence. Dodging all over the place. Difficult to commentate that one because that was such a close game. Absolute credit to both teams. Now, if I was the War Piglets, the main thing I'll be looking at is the scoreboard here and identifying player 6 as potentially the biggest threat on the opposite team. Now, the problem is if he's also very good at dodging, you can't necessarily nullify it. But player 6 got 72 shots out, so he's a technician-ish build. Either that or he was under not very much pressure. But that was a very good game. Basically, both teams playing absolutely brilliantly. Again, absolutely fair play to War Piglets, because basically coming into this, they were probably the least best positioned team in the whole tournament. And then they're absolutely taking the Devourers to the line there. Oh, I'm out of breath just watching. My heart rate's up. If you imagine that and you're one of the players, you've got all that adrenaline dump and you're also running around for 80 seconds, dodging up and down. So, really well played there. Tactics-wise, I think War Piglets are probably going to do the same thing. I wouldn't necessarily expect them to do anything majorly different. As I say, if I was to give them any advice, it's maybe just keep an eye on player 6. Because unless the enemy team have changed around the headsets, which I don't think they're likely to have, player 6 is the one that is probably the best shot on the opposite team. He got the most knockouts. What I'd say about that game is that game was probably, what I'd say is one of the best games from a perspective of every single player on both teams absolutely looking to pull their weight. We've got every single player at some point push the middle of the court. The middle of the court is a scary place to be because it's very easy to get knocked out there. So getting towards the front and back out again is not an easy thing. So it was really good to see every single one of the War Piglets pushing forwards. And again, same thing, Devourers, every single one of them at certain points pushing to that front line to get themselves a knockout and putting themselves in the danger zone. Shout out to Kenny Loggins, whilst at the same time getting some good knockouts on the opposite team. All right, so here we go. Again, I like to make predictions, but I have no clue how this is going to go. War Piglets could have a mess up here. So, straight shootout again. No shields. It's a rehash. Let's see. Will player 6 be the threat that he was last time? The thing is, he's a technician. So on the one hand, he's not obvious as the threat because his orbs aren't particularly big, but he is definitely the threat. Doing volleys there against player 2. He's identified player 2 as the person he's trying to knock out. Lovely knockouts there from both teams. Davaris taking a slight lead early on though. I think they've identified player 3 as a good target, as maybe not being as good at dodging, so they're trying to keep player 3 out of the game. Lovely cross shots going on player 4 though. Volleys coming and good communication from War Piglets. They're switching up who they're targeting as a team. That means they've got another knockout here. Davaris now under pressure. Davaris, however, staying calm, getting a knockout on player 2. Straight knockout back though. War Piglets are in the lead. This is anyone's game. Okay, so we've got a shield coming up from both teams. I'm looking to use all shields up before the end of the game. Lovely knocking out from the blue team, tying it up to 5-all. Lovely shields coming out from everyone. Player 5 is the only one left with a shield. He's going to push forward in a second use his, I suspect. Either that or he's going to try and hang back as an assassin. 6-all. This is anyone's game. 10 seconds remaining. Both teams looking for a knockout. Player 2 doing his absolute best. He's being targeted heavily. But knockout coming from War Piglets. 4 seconds left. They just need to dodge. Lovely work. I was holding my breath. Okay. Lovely work there. Player 5 on the Davaras pulling his weight because I think player 6 was put under more pressure. Piglets doing an amazing job. Player 2, fair cop for getting so many knockouts whilst putting yourself in such a dangerous position. He's in the middle of the court, which is the worst place to be because everyone can see you very easily. He's also then pushing to the front line, which is the worst place to be because fundamentally everyone can shoot cross shots at you, and he was still managing to dodge using head movement. When you get down to one petal left, in some ways you become more of a target because it's easy if they hit you that one bit. But on the other hand, you've only got a smaller target to aim at. So his head dodging, which is where he turned his head up to basically bring his petal up quicker and to engage basically a higher or a lower dodge, saved his bacon a few times. Now, the downside of that is it's actually really then difficult to get your head back on target to get knockouts. But he was still doing it. So player 2, absolutely man of the match for me on that last game. Basically doing an amazing job. Got 37.9% accuracy. Also moved the furthest 66 metres. Only firing 29 rounds, but that's because he's basically an assassin build. So he's an assassin who's also willing to push the front line. Really well played. Now the question is, it's going to come down to a fitness thing now. Can the War Piglets keep up that tempo, come into this third elimination round? Devourers remaining calm under pressure. Normally what happens is you'll get a swing because when you get a knockout happen, it's very easy for then your team to then target the next person because with that player out for 3 seconds, you're like, right, well, you're not going to shoot them, you're going to shoot the next person. So what can happen is you can get 3 knockouts in quick succession, whereas that game, you weren't. You're getting the odd knockout here and there and then a counter knockout happening. So it was somebody putting themselves in a position of risk to achieve a knockout and then getting knocked out themselves by the other team. So this is 2 teams very equally balanced, both going for a straight shootout build. Now, could the teams mix it up? I think War Piglets are probably happy with the strategy. I don't think they're going to change it up necessarily. Devourers might. They might go into that second game feeling that the other team have got their eye in. So maybe they're going to try a different tactic. But I'll be honest, if I was both teams, I'd be tempted to just stick with my normal tactic and carry on doing what I'm doing. We shall see here in a second if that's actually what happens. 10 seconds apparently to the start of this next game. So again, reminders, War Piglets on the left, Welsh team, coming into this tournament as the underdogs, doing a very good job here against the Devourers, who coming in, again, sort of 5th rank, so not top, but still quite high ranking when you consider it's in the UK. All right, so here we go. Can I see any clues? No, it's a straight shootout again. So we've got a rematch with the same thing. I'm just going to get a quick drink while this is picking off, so no commentary for a few seconds. Let's see what happens. Ten seconds in, Devourer's getting a point lead, nice and easy. They're happy hanging at the back. They don't feel the need to push that front line. They are also heavily targeting player 2 because they know he's a threat. So if you see player 2's having a tough time at the minute because he's getting hit by everything, he's finding it difficult to push to that front line. But there he goes. Again, straight knockout. Devourers have got their eye in. They've realised where the threat is. Lovely dual shield coming out, however, from War Piglets. Player 2 has switched position over to the left-hand side of the court to try and stop being targeted. This is the downside when you have one of your best players in the middle of the court because he is absolutely getting peppered by everyone. From the Devourers' perspective, all they need to do is nullify him and they're going to win. Really good play here from the Devourers, identifying the main threat on the opposite team and taking steps to nullify it. At this point, chances are it's the Devourers win. Welsh team pushing forward though, trying to get some points on the board. Now again, what they're doing here is every time they see player 2 targeting them, they're upping their game. Absolutely brilliant dodging coming out of player 6. And player 2, fair cop to you for pushing to that front line and staying there. War Piglet's playing really well there in some really unfortunate situations. But yeah, player 2 there from War Piglets, absolutely trying to carry his team. Unfortunately, Devourers identified that and nullified it. Did everything they could to basically keep him moving, keep him from being able to shoot at them accurately. Really good play from both teams. That was such a close game. All right. Just looking at the stats here, 30% accuracy coming out of player 4, getting 4 in the knockouts. Again, you'd expect the accurate player to be getting knockouts, but again, moving 20 metres, that's not a lot, which is generally a good sign that they weren't under a lot of pressure. This game is all about pressure. If you are a good shot, but you are being pressured by being shot at by the enemy team for the entire game, it's difficult to get the shots out. If you are under no pressure, stood in a corner, that is the best place to be. When I used to play, I would recruit really flashy, quick dodgers, get them to go and dodge at the front corner of the map, like the sort of the pitch to the right, and I would try and stay and keep a low profile against the left-hand side or the right-hand side to get some cross shots on. So, what's going to be happening next? We're going through to the semi-finals. So, the first of the semi-finals, I believe, is going to be Warp Star on the left, which is the red team, versus Team No on the blue team. So this is the kind of third-ranked team on the left versus the second-ranked team on the right. So this is going to be a close one. The thing is, we might see a big swing because these teams are skillful enough that if they get a good knockout going, they could knock out 3 players very quickly. So, let's say I knock out the right-hand player, all of a sudden you've only got 2 teammates left on the court or 2 enemy teammates that you can see that you're going to shoot at. So it's very easy to then call your shots. Teams that synergize well together will do volley fire against like an individual target, but you've still got to keep everyone moving. So, when I used to play, you'd be mainly shooting at the person in front of you, for example, to keep them moving. I often played a technician role, so I had lots of energy orbs, so I'd be firing them up. But then every now and then I'd just flick a cross shot onto one or the other teammates. And if all of our team kind of do that at the same time, all of a sudden you've got 3 or 4 orbs coming at you where normally you're used to dodging one, and they're coming up from odd directions and heights, and it's very difficult to dodge that. Players can do that, but they've got to identify that they're under pressure. So what you generally want to do is switch somebody up from low pressure. If you see somebody chilling in a corner, all of a sudden switch over to them on high pressure, and hopefully you'll catch them flat-footed. Same goes for shields. If someone puts a shield up, that's actually a good indicator that you can get a knockout on them because they'll be stationary behind a shield. So if you can take down that shield with a volley of fire from your whole team, then you can get a free knockout almost from the person who's stationed behind it and didn't realise and got knocked out. What tactics are we going to see? I'm not sure. I think it might be a straight shootout, although, again, no, looking calm and collected over on the right. I've not seen all of them fire, which is a good indication that they might have somebody with a shield. But it's interesting. We'll see straight away as soon as the game starts. No shields, straight shootout, apart from one on the left. So we've got a shielder on the red team. Warp Star. It's player 3. So we'll see when... the player 3 is their normal shielder. So there we go. They've just telegraphed it with the size of their orbs. So the blue team will now know that player 3 on the right-hand side of their pitch, from their perspective, is the shielder. So they are, however, trying to nullify player 1 because they know that player 1 is the assassin. So what's going to happen here from Warstar is player 3 is going to push forward probably about 40, 50 seconds and put a shield up. And they're going to get player 1 probably behind it. And player 1 is just going to try and get some knockouts. Because at the minute, No is desperately trying to nullify player 1 to stop them from getting knockouts, but it's not working. Okay, here we go. So we start the shield play coming up. 40 seconds left on the clock, as I called it. So player 1's now behind his shields. They're going to keep those shields up with player 1 sniping. The blue team needs to take those shields down immediately. They cannot leave them there. So their technician, which is player 5, needs to be just targeting those shields with an absolutely flurry of shots. He's only got 4 charges though, so it's going to be tough. So the minute this might be an upset in that Warstar, who's rank 3, is going to take the position from rank 2 if they keep this up. All the shields are gone, 10 seconds left. 3-point lead. They can still pull it back. Team No need to get aggressive and push that front line. That's it. There we go. Push the line, start getting some knockouts, but unfortunately they left it a little bit too late. And Warp Star able to get a final knockout right at the end. So, tough times. So here we go. We got 5 points to 3, I think, or 5 points to 2. So no, under a lot of pressure there. Needed to effectively get a bit more aggressive on that front line. Warp Star's plan, I think they'll probably stick with it. So what they'll do is probably similar. Have one of their shielders wait till about 40 seconds, set up a firing position for player 1 because he is their best assassin, and then he's going to sit there trying to get knockouts. So you can see there, player 2, absolutely fair cop, getting 2 knockouts earlier in the round, whilst the pressure was effectively on player 1, player 2 getting the thing. And then later, when player 1 getting into a little redoubt position behind a shield, I'd love playing with this team because I'd be like player 1. I'd be like, get me a little pillbox at the front line. I'll get knockouts all day. So, Warpstar playing some good tactics. Team know what they need to do. Either up their charge rate, have another person have slightly more charge and less assassins. Back in the original days, you don't see it very often. We used to play 3-3-3-1. And that gives you, as a player, quite a balanced approach to everything. If you had an entire team of 3-3-3-1 against that play, what you could do is as soon as that shield comes up, you can all just hammer it down. Or I'd go 3-3-3-1 on 2 players and have a technician. Because you can still knock people out with 3-3-1. It is tougher because they're not moving as quick. But at that point, you just need slightly better prediction sort of models. Nowadays, because the level of dodging is higher, it pushes people to go for more extreme builds where they have an assassin, and the technician and the sort of flat 3-3-3-1 is less common. In this situation, though, my money would be, if I was Team No, get 2 3-3-1s and a technician, and that's how I play it. Equally, my tactics are very out-of-date, so we'd see. Each team's going to have their own strategy for dealing with it. What we might see coming out of Team No is a shield play. They might try and counter the enemy shield. So what will happen there is, if that happens, is at the point where the player 3 rushes forward to put their shields up, probably on the left-hand side, the team player on the right-hand side that's got shields will push forward and put them up at the same time. So that is the other counter to a shield play, is you counter shield it. You put a shield face-to-face with it, and then the shields aren't a benefit to either of you. The downside to that is Warpstar's other player, player 2, is really aggressive when his teammate's in behind the shields, and he's not afraid to push that front corner with his own little shield, because he knows that a lot of fire is going to be going at those other shields, and he's going to have less things to dodge. And what he's actively trying to do there is actually draw fire. Okay, so no shields coming out of Team No, so they're going to go for a straight shootout. I do not think they've got a particularly large increase in charge rate, so they've only got 8 charge rate amongst them. Is that going to be enough to deal with the shields coming out of the red team, Warpstar? I think Warpstar actually might have mixed it up. I can't remember if they had a technician, but they've got a technician now. I can't remember if player 2 was a technician in the first game, but he's gone technician, possibly as a plan to counter if they actually did do a shield. But Team No getting an early lead, 1-0. Remember, it's going to be about 40-second mark that player 3 comes forward. Now, if I'm on the blue team, I'm going to know that, and I'm going to wait, and at about 40 seconds, all switch. There we go. Switch over to player 3 now. She's got her arm down. That means she's going to be trying to push forward. Don't let her. Lovely work from her. She managed to get the dodges out and get the shield in position. Now, those shields are quite spread out. They need to take those shields down. Blue team can do it. They've got the point lead. So all they need to do is dodge, get those shields down, and they're going to win. 1 point coming back. Warpstar needs to get the points during this stage. See there, player 2 pushing forward, being aggressive. As I said, trying to draw far away from the shields, and it works. Blue team just focusing those shields down now, but whilst not letting player 2 come to the front of the court. 10 seconds left. If they get those shields down, here we go. Get those shields down and they win. Because if it goes to overtime, they'll have the advantage. However, Warpstar getting a final knockout. Team No being very aggressive. Missing out by 1 point. Warpstar, absolutely fair play. Player 2, again, playing brilliantly. Player 1 playing brilliantly. I mean, good work all round. We knew what the tactic was. Team No just unable to get the accuracy in. I think Warpstar doing a very good job, not only at the shield play, but at the dodging as well. So it's tough when you've got an opponent who could win, who could play a straight shootout dodge play, and then they're able to integrate really good teamwork like that, where you've got a shield play being done textbook fundamentally. The thing with Warpstar is all the other teams will be watching that now. No, the way to beat them is to nullify player 1. And the way I would do that, as I say, is overwhelming firepower or have a shielder do a shield. So what you could do is have 2 of your teams set to be a shootout, and then have one of your teams just counter shield to the position so that he can't get the cross shots. And then it comes down to how quickly can you get through their shield. Now, the thing is, Warpstar have prepped themselves for that because they have somebody with a charge rate of 4. So fundamentally, if you do a counter shield, they're going to also probably be very good at taking those shields down. So Warpstar showing that they're dominant in this this tournament for using good shield tactics. Really well played there. Again, Team Note, staying calm, cool under pressure. Doing a very good job. Right. So, what's up next? We're going to have... It's going to be Oblivion versus the War Pigs. This is going to be a fun one. So, Oblivion are the favourites coming into this tournament. They are very good. However, War Pigs, absolutely no clue how they're going to do because they are on the rise, as it were. From starting early in the year, again, the Welsh team saw them play, or saw some of the players play last week very successfully in a tournament against some very strong English teams. So yeah, Oblivion versus War Pigs. I think the money's going to have to be on Oblivion on the red side. So it's going to be on the left-hand side. But War Pigs, it'll be interesting to see if they can mix it up. And again, the only way to get better in any sport is to play a better opponent. So this is going to be very interesting to see how they do. I think Oblivion's going to feel quite comfortable and confident, but we shall see. War Pigs, what could they do? I'm trying to think what I would do. I think War Pigs are probably going to go for a shootout. I'm not convinced that they'll try any kind of straight up tactics. I just need to check something. Is this Alistair? Is his name? Yeah, the Alistair is one of my favourite players. I saw him playing in the Home Nations last week. He's not site synced in yet, so I can't tell you what number he is, but he's the smallest player on Oblivion. Very good player. Won MVP, I believe, at the Home Nations last week. Absolutely stellar performance. And my favourite thing is just the kids nowadays who are playing this and the adults, just cool, calm, collected. It's very difficult. There's a lot of pressure. You're performing at a high level in a very short time frame. It's very easy to lose composure. That last game, for example, Team No did an amazing job at keeping cool under very tough conditions, fundamentally, and nearly pulling it out. So, what are we going to see? I think Warpstar might go for a straight shootout. I think that... Sorry, not Warpstar. Oblivion are going to straight shootout. I'm not sure what War Pigs are going to do. Now, the thing about War Pigs is the player that's currently on the left-hand side of the pitch. In fact, I'm talking about stuff you can't see at the minute. We'll talk more when it turns over. But basically, I think they're not firing their shots on the pitch, which is generally an indication they're not wanting to give anything away. So there's an indication they might do a shield, but no clues. No one giving anything away yet. When we switch to the play, watch player 4 on the Welsh team on the right, War Pigs, he's probably the strongest player. I'm expecting him to push the front line. I think their player 5 is also quite strong as well. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Just got one of the refs just doing a quick final check on the court. Hopefully you're enjoying this. If you are, please join us again in the future and potentially say nice things about us. Any questions in chat, we'll try and answer them either today or next time if we can. Right. And so this is going to be... Now, the semi-finals are important because obviously it gets you through to the finals. But at the moment, we're going to have, I think, Warpstar going through from the previous round. So whoever wins this is probably going to go through and face Warpstar. All right, here we go. So Alistair's that player number 3, and player number 5 is the one I'd watch from the opposite side, from the War Pigs. Lovely aggressive player already from player 2's a shielder. Okay, so interesting. Okay, so we've got a really big shield match. Okay, so Oblivion are going to try and double shield and get Alistair, the young lad, in a good position to get lots of knockouts. They're trusting their ability to dodge right now because they know that they've got good dodging ability. Meanwhile, War Pigs are going to try and shield their own shields. They're trying to counter shields. This is going to be a tense one because the thing is, even once they get through these shields, they've got more. Player 5 needs to calm it down because he's used all his shields very quickly and he doesn't know that player 2 has shields. Lovely knockout. So, Warpigs, what they need to do right now is maintain that lead. Keep dodging. Lovely use of just the single shots. Here we go. So player 2 coming up from their shields, getting Alistair player 3 in behind it. But Alistair not managed to get his eyes in. Lovely use of that final shield. Player 5 needs to get out of there because he's about to get knocked out if he hangs there too long. Okay, Alistair getting a point. He's got himself in his pillbox. He's going to try and knock out player 4. Player 4 getting knocked out. Lovely work there. Now, the favour is going, unfortunately, in the favour of Oblivion, just based... You could almost take the shields out of that fight, fundamentally. That came down to, can Alistair get points? And he got 3 points towards the end of the match. All the pressure on him. Absolutely fair play to Warpigs. It's tough, because at the point where you took that early point lead, you had a chance. But, you know, fundamentally, you've then got a really good shot in a pillbox right on your front line. You don't have a lot of room to dodge. It's very difficult. Now, I think Oblivion will change it up. I can't see them doing that same tactic again. If they do, I'll be interested, because they might be going all in on that strategy. But the problem with that strategy is it puts all of the pressure on one of your players to perform. If that one player has a bit of a moment where they don't get knockouts... Now, of all the people you're going to put your pressure on, Alistair's a good person to do it because he's cool, calm and collected and very good. But it runs the risk of your player getting knocked out. And then all of a sudden, your team's behind. Can Warpigs change it up? Now, the problem is, if Warpigs change up their stat build massively to deal with that strat in particular, and then they don't do that strat, that's a problem. If I was Warpigs and I suspected that strategy was coming back out again, what I would do is actually have a bunch of technicians. So I'd have 2 technicians and maybe an assassin. Because fundamentally, 2 shields and an assassin against 2 technicians and an assassin, I think the technicians will have it. And if you don't have it and you can stay strong through the shields, at least you're going to win in overtime because you've got a much stronger team when it comes to a straight shootout after the end of the game. So, if I was Warpigs, I would be thinking about having technicians. I don't think that's the case. I think there's going to be a shield. And the reason I say that is because I've just seen someone practice putting a shield up on the court. So I think we're going to have at least 1 shield coming out of the Warpigs. Now, the question is, do Oblivion use a double shield play? They're all capable of just doing a straight shootout. I feel they're going to have a straight shootout. I think player 3 is definitely going to be shooting. There's a chance player 2 is still going to shield. Nope, straight shootout. So we've got shootout versus your shield. So Oblivion now going just fully aggressive on shooting against Warpigs, who do have a shielder, but it's whether the shielder can get forwards without getting knocked out. It's player 5. I think they've identified that player 5 might be the shielder, and they're trying to keep pressure on them because there's lots of shots coming at them early doors. Now, as soon as that person comes forwards, lovely shield there, however, from player 5, getting in position. Then switching across. We like this. I like this sort of style of shielding where basically you position at the front of the court, do 2 shields, quick time. And what he actually did was try and get player 4 in position whilst drawing fire to a shield on the left. Cross shot coming in from player 2, however. 1-1. This is such a close match. Lovely knockout. Warpigs can still be in this. All they need to do is get maybe 1 or 2 knockouts before those shields are gone. And they'll be in a really good position. Player 5 doing everything they can to stay in the game for their teammates. Lovely small shield coming in from player 6, going for a cross shot. Big shield coming in from player 5. Now, it's a bit of an angle where theoretically player 4 needs to get behind it, but they could shoot from behind it. Player 4 nonchalantly walking up to the front there, trying to let them forget about it. Getting a cross shot. Absolutely brilliant play. Now, it's all on dodging. They've got to dodge. Oblivion pushing forwards. 10 seconds left. All of the pressure just needs to be on their dodging now, right now. Absolutely. 4-4. If it goes to overtime, it's going to be in the Oblivion's favour. Lovely attempt at a knockout from player 4. Came forward and pushed it right at the last second, but just slightly too late. Okay, this is going to be tough. The favour here is in Oblivion. They've got more stats for shooting. Warpigs just need to absolutely dodge their hearts out and hope that one of their shooters can get a knockout. Unfortunately, slow start. But how close was that, given that, as I say, Warpigs at the start of this year only started this year, and they ended up basically taking Team Oblivion, that's the first ranked team in the country, to a very, very close nail-biting second round there. I mean, we almost went to 3 rounds, which is not common, fundamentally, with teams at this level. That was... Oh, my heart rate's up. 82 shots coming out of player 6 there. Lovely technician build. Which 82 with a charge rate of 4, by the way, is not to be scoffed at, because that is a really high number. I would expect 82 to come out of a player with charge rate 5. So the technician on the War Pigs absolutely firing his heart out there. But yeah, player 1 getting 3 knockouts for Oblivion absolutely pulled it out there. Oh. Let's have a look, some stats. Yeah, player 1, definitely the player that saved the bacon of Oblivion there, getting 3 of their knockouts, whereas the other team getting 2, and actually getting 2 of them at the end there when they were required. Definitely put themselves on the line, basically would have pushed and been more aggressive to try and get those knockouts. So, that has been the elimination rounds and the semi-final rounds. We are quickly getting through these matches. So, I think I will check with production in a second, because I think they're just updating these stats in the background. But I think what we're going to end up doing is having basically the playoff positions for 7th and 8th. And then it's going to go through to the 5th and 6th and so on. So we're going to have in the 7th and 8th playoff position to try and fight for that position is going to be War Piglets versus BSOD. This is them fighting for the position in basically the rankings. Then 5th versus 6th place is going to be Devourers versus Wolfpack. Then we're going to have 3rd versus 4th place. It's going to be War Pigs versus Team No. War Pigs came in ranked 4th. They're going to be pushing to try and get ranked 3rd, I think. That'll be a close one to see. And then in the 1st and 2nd place, we've got Oblivion and Warpstar. Now, bear in mind, I'm pretty certain, I'm going to check my stats here, Warpstar were in position 3. So already there's an upset in respect of Warpstar, who came in ranked 3, are now in the position to get 1st or 2nd. And Team No have been knocked down into 2nd or 3rd or 4th. Now, the question is, can War Pigs do another upset with Team No and knock them down even further? Now, that can happen because there is a psychological element of they could be a bit under pressure at this point. You know, it's tough once you've had a loss against a team that you're expecting to win to actually pull it back to be in a good mental space. You don't have a lot of time between games. They're obviously trying to turn around the games as quick as they can today, getting the teams on and off the court. But let's say you've only got 10, 15 minutes between your last game and the new game. It's not that long to get your head back in it and to focus up on what you're trying to do. So we're going to have, it's going to be red team is going to be War Piglets. They're going to be on the left, and it's going to be BSOD on the blue team on the right. Now, BSOD previously, they had a shielder that was player 4, I think it is. Now, if he puts his shields up, the problem they had last time is he didn't do a good job of getting out of the way to get his other players in behind the shields. His players that he plays with are still quite good at dodging and shooting, however. So they could basically still do quite a good job. You can see basically some teams end up with knee pads on. If you see a player with knee pads, I can guarantee you they're going to be good at dodging, or they're an old man, I don't know. But basically, knee pads are generally used for sliding and going to a knee. So if you see someone knee pads, it's to try and protect your knees from sliding. It'd be interesting to see what War Piglets do here. Obviously, favourites going into this one probably BSOD, but War Piglets and War Pigs, both teams coming out of the Wales sort of lot, who had less time to train than a lot of these other teams, absolutely doing an amazing job. You see there on the pitch, in fact, you can't see because it's not switched to it yet, but you can see there some of the War Pigs actually teamed up with the War Piglets. They're sort of co-teams trained together. So they've just been having a chat behind the scenes about what their tactics are and things like that. And then on the other side, you've got BSOD, who will probably, I mean, my guess would be, I think it's player 6, that's their shielder maybe, instead of player 4. So the way the tech works, by the way, is you've got headsets that basically look at the banner behind them that's got all the pattern on it, use that like a giant QR code, and once they get locked in, the gyroscopes in the headset and things like that can keep them positioned. But it is working effectively like a giant QR code to get your initial position. So let's see what tactics. I think that there's a good chance that BSOD are going to use shields again. And if they do, what I want to see is War Piglets either using a counter shield play or using a technician to take those shields down quickly. It's very easy to leave shields up thinking, that's all right, there's another guy out behind to one side, not in front of the shield, but you can't afford it. Okay, so we do have a shields coming out of player 6. We do have a technician on War Piglets as well. So we'll see if that technician can get those shields down. So I think the technician is player 2, so that's the player at the top left of the screen right now. So when those shields come out of player 6, expect player 2 hopefully to be targeting them. And then what you want is once those shields come down, is the rest of your team to help you shoot them out as well. Some good shots coming in, however, from the SOD. Already putting pressure, and now their shields are up. So War Piglets are on the back foot straight away because those shields need to be taken down. Technician there, player 2, doing cross shots onto the shields to take them down. Lovely knockouts coming in from War Piglets. Player 1 pushing forwards to try and get around that shield. Now, the thing is, if I'm being honest, BSOD, again, not using those shields very well, because players 5 and 4, who are their main shooters, aren't actually using that shield. But they're doing all right without it. They clearly like dodging. So what's happening with those shields is actually all it's doing is just drawing fire in from the opposite team and giving them a position where they maybe can get to. Lovely work from player 5 there, pushing forward, but getting a knockout and a knockout against player 1. Player 1 knocking him out himself. 9 points on the board. Looking like it's going to go in BSOD's favour. Only 10 seconds left. Final shield coming up from player 6 and player 5 actually using that shield to some good effect, getting 2 knockouts. You just do that more, BSOD. Use those shields better and you're going to get even more knockouts. Obviously, in this case, they didn't need it. They still managed to get the points. This is tough for War Piglets because fundamentally, BSOD using those shields in a really odd way, drawing fire, but it's not the reason that they're losing. They're losing because players 4 and 5 are just good at dodging and shooting at the same time. Player 5, they're getting 46% accuracy, whilst also getting 6 knockouts, and not being behind shields a lot of the time is basically a good dodging, shooting player. Again, accuracy 34% from player 4. So at this point, basically, what they need to do is maybe switch it up and just keep pressure on player 4 and 5. Try and get the knockouts. If they are going to do anything, it's maybe use a shield to counter shield. But if not, and they keep the technician role, I'm going to go against what I said earlier, and this is a terrible idea, but maybe don't shoot the shields if their teammates aren't behind it. Now, the problem is, if BSOD are smart and they spot that, they will start using the shields properly, at which point your technician has to switch back to taking those shields down, because you can't afford for one of those really good shooters to be sat behind it. But maybe there's something to be said for the 2 teammates that are not the technician. If the 2 teammates on the opposite team who are the good shooters are out of the shield, they need to be focused on them. Don't let them stop dodging. Right. Again, I'm just going to take a very quick drink before we go into this next round. Apologies if you can hear my squeaky drinks canister behind it. Right. So, here we go. We've got War Piglets coming back onto the pitch. BSOD here on the right-hand side. Looks like a shield maybe on the right-hand side. So, BSOD giving away that they've definitely got their shielder in play. They do seem to stick with the same tactic each time, though. They've got their player 6 as their shielder. Again, I'm throwing shade. They're actually playing really well. So, don't necessarily count them out just yet. Okay, here we go. War Piglets. Okay, same setup from last time. It's basically a repeat. So, can they change their targeting, however, to mean that they get knockouts early on? Okay, so player 1 is trying to target player 4 with some cross shots. Player 5 doing a brilliant job of just crossing the pitch, doing cross shots over, getting the odd knockout. It seems odd to have both your shooters on the same side, but it means you can do some really awkward cross shots on the opposite team. Lovely shield going up. Now, okay, player 4 is actually using that shield. So really good work from the SOD using that shield. Good positioning. Got their player behind it. This is better work from them from the shield play. This means the technician cannot afford for that shield to be there. Technician needs to just target that shield down along with the rest of the team. You notice there a War Piglet's attempt to put a shield up in front of it. Unfortunately, it was a very low power shield, which meant that it didn't do anything. Lovely getting a knockout, however, 1 point on the board for War Piglets. BSOD absolutely feeling confident at this point, however. Lovely work. So, player 6 still got 1 shield up. It's pretty confidently going to be in the BSOD's favour. War Piglets starting to come back, getting a couple of points on the board, which is really hard to do in this situation. So, absolute credit to them for staying calm. Pushing player 4, trying to get him to get knockout. But unfortunately, player 4 knows and is doing an absolutely amazing job at dodging all of those cross shots coming in from player 1. Player 3 getting pinned into a corner. Really good work from both teams. But absolutely, like best shield work we've seen from BSOD in all those matches was this one. Again, as you can see from the scoreboard, player 4 and 5 obviously getting most of the knockouts. Player 3 actually getting most of the knockouts from War Piglets, which is a good indication that they were being less pressured and they were getting some really good cross shots as the other team were pushing to the far side of the court. As I say, It's actually more common for you to get a knockout from shooting across the pitch than it is for you to be doing it when you're looking straight at somebody. Because looking straight at somebody, they know it's coming. Cross shot pitch shots are really difficult to dodge. Because the other thing is, if you're used to dodging left and right, as you dodge left, you're actually dodging less than you think because you're actually getting into them. So you've almost got to realign to an angle. Player 5 there, absolutely dominating the accuracy, 53% and 7 knockouts. Really well played. Okay, so up next we're going to have Devourers in red versus Wolfpack in blue. This is for the 5th and 6th position in the tournament. Who do I think is going to win? I have no clue. I'll be honest, this UK Championship has been one of the more difficult ones to judge. I mean, even Team Oblivion had a game where I was genuinely, there was a moment where I was like, they're ranked 1. You normally expect the first ranked team to be pushing very hard, and they are. But for them to actually be taken to a very close match early on, I'm a bit worried that later on we're going to have all sorts of mix-ups. I shouldn't be worried. This is fun times. It's good cinema. All right, so Devourers are going to be on the left-hand side in red, and Wolfpack is going to be in right. So it's going to be tough to decide what tactics are. Now, the thing is, what you've got to consider is all the teams here will be watching all the other matches that have been progressing before this to try and analyse what other teams have often done. And that can actually come down to what players you can see in front of you, because some teams have 4 or 5 players in their team. And what they'll do is they'll sub out somebody that's more optimal at doing a certain job. So if I, for example, am the best technician, right, and we don't think we need a technician, we'll just sub me out for somebody who's better at shielding or something. So, yeah, you do get some teams that are just the same 3 players over and over. But often you'll see some subs. So if you see a substitution to somebody that you know is a certain thing as a preference, then you know what to expect. I think there might be a straight shootout here. There's a chance we get a shield coming out of player 6 on Wolfpack, but I think it's likely to be a straight shootout. We shall see. All right, here we go. Some of the coaches / parents there getting out of the way. And we're standing by. So it's going to be Devourer's left-hand side in red versus Wolfpack. This is going to be tense. I like the way they're calm. They're calmer than I am. And I'm not even, not even on the pitch. All right, here we go. Straight shootout. No shields. 2 technicians on Wolfpack. That's going to mean that they can try and keep Devourers moving, freeing up hopefully time for their assassin to get a shot. So this is going to come down to teamwork for can you analyse and shoot at the same target. Okay, so they nullified player 3 immediately into a nullified player 1, which immediately meant that they could fire shots at player 2. So Wolfpack doing a very good job here. Player 1 pushed forward to try and get the return, but Wolfpack doing an excellent job at targeting them. Basically, at the moment, Wolfpack are doing a really amazing job at changing who they're targeting at each moment to the optimal player for that moment. And they're doing that through experience, fundamentally, because you can't communicate that as well during a game. It's too quick. However, Devourer's remaining calm, starting to pull it back, starting to get their eye in as well. 36, yeah. So there's plays called off from the pitch. So they identified that player 6 was weak, and they give a shout out saying, "Not that person out." Again, I can hear a call for player 6, so I would expect the red team to be targeting player 6 next. Lovely knockout. Now, the downside of that is when you call it, the other team can hear that. So player 6 knows when they do that he's getting targeted. So he's going to up his dodging ability. And this is where the pressure comes in. Can you withstand the pressure? At this point, Wolfpack doing an excellent job. Last couple of seconds, some more points going on the board. Both teams playing excellently. What did that for Wolfpack is the very early getting those 3 points back-to-back nearly at the start. 2 points of them literally within seconds of each other will have put an immense amount of pressure on the Devourers. But the Devourers remaining calm, starting to pull it back, did a really good job. It's tough, especially when they try to make moves, because what they did was they tried to push forwards, and Wolfpack would spot that and then just target that player as they came forwards. So what Wolfpack are doing is basically using their experience to identify who is the best target for all of them at any one moment. They're not getting locked in and tunnel visioned on the player that's in front of them. They're looking for basically any knockouts that they can. Okay, so which is good because fundamentally it keeps up the pressure on all of the players. So if you're on the Devourers team at the minute, the tough time is you're going to get a shot at. You have to find those moments in between your dodging where you're landing and you can still get an accurate shot off. If you're good at dodging, but you're not good at dodging and then getting a shot off in that moment that's accurate, when you have a match like this where you're getting put under a lot of pressure, it's really difficult to actually get the knockouts. And again, the Wolfpack are using a high charge rate on 2 of their players with technicians, specifically to keep pressure up on Devourers. I do not think we'll see a change of tactic out of Wolfpack because their build is also good against shield. So if for example, Devourers did go for a shield build, there's a good chance that Wolfpack would be able to basically get through those shields. So I think we're probably going to have a straight shootout again, would be my guess. Okay, we've got the players coming to the court. Have we had a substitution? I'm not sure. We might have had a substitution for Wolfpack. We did, which means they might do a different play. Maybe they are going to change it up. Maybe this person's coming in is a good shielder. We don't know. If it is, then Devourers are going to need to be able to deal with that. It's generally not the team that won the first game that changes up their tactic, but Wolfpack, a very experienced team who've been playing for a long time, so maybe they are going to do it. Nope, still straight shootout, no shields. And the question is, did Wolf... Well, absolute volley there at the start. Lots of technicians, lots of energy. So we've got two technicians on either side and an assassin. So this is going to be loads of orbs, high tempo for the entire 80 seconds. And again, it could go very quickly because if one knockout happens and you can follow up with a couple of others, your team's all of a sudden going to take a very quick point V lead because there's plenty of energy. So you're not going to have a situation where it's going to be one knockout. I'd expect one, then another, then another. Okay, so player 6 at the moment, precarious ground. That's who I would be targeting right now. I need a cross shot to come from the player on the red seam across the pitch. Lovely work. Devourers getting an early lead, maintaining a high output of energy. Player 6 doing an amazing job at drawing fire and still dodging. Player 4 is pretty much uncontested in the middle, but now he becomes the target, gets behind a shield, and that gives them a point. Devourers doing an amazing job there, all switching their target at the same time. The problem is when you do that and you put a shield up and you come to the front like that, you make yourself a target. The Devourers did a really good job. They actually got 2 of their knockouts from people behind shields. Wolfpack is now on the defensive, and that's tough. It's tough to come back from. Player 6 doing his best to come forward a bit down the right-hand side. Player 4 doing an amazing job on the front of this pitch, drawing fire and getting those shots off like I was describing during the interval. But Devourers absolutely just remaining calm, taking a breath after that first game. And again, look at that. Most of the points coming later in the game, right? And again, it's a psychological thing. Everyone's good at dodging. Tiredness starts to kick in. It doesn't sound like a lot, but 80 seconds is a long game, right? When you're trying to dodge at this tempo. So now, this is going to be another moment. Both teams are going to need to take a breath, come back in. Wolfpack at this point might change the tactic. Devourers are less likely to change the tactic because they're clearly confident in that tactic. They stuck with it despite the first game loss. So I would expect Devourers to stay the same. Wolfpack maybe will change it up, but again, they will feel confident after their first game of doing well. So what they might do is sub their player back in that they had in the first round to change things up. It can be as simple as if the Devourers know one of the players on the Wolfpack dodges more than the other, that might have given them an edge. Because let's say, for example, I'm very used to doing a dodge where I dodge to the left and bring my head down low. If the other team have identified that and they know that I'm used to doing that, they can predict where my head's going to be. They can get a knockout. There's some of the best teams in the country still have certain players that have a pattern. So it's about building up your repertoire of dodges so you're not just dodging in the same way every time, because that way leads you getting basically targeted. And that can happen during a game. Like literally, the Devourers didn't do great in that first game, but got their eye in, right, in that second game. And again, it was a very high-tempo game straight from the get-go. 2 technicians on either side. These are the games that I love to watch. These are the games that I want to play, fundamentally. I like high-tempo, lots of energy all flying around. 10 seconds, here we go. Still no clue who's going to win this. 5 seconds. All right, let's see what happens. Straight shootout, no shields again. Early lead from Wolfpack. Early 2 points for Wolfpack. Absolutely. They've switched up their positioning on the court as well. So they've got people in different positions. And that, it might have been enough to cause a bit of confusion in the Devourers. But the Devourers, not worrying about it, just staying calm. Problem is 2 of them are getting pinned into the left-hand corner. They need to be careful. And player 5 is doing an amazing job on the opposite team, trying to basically keep mobile on that far side and ignoring those cross shots. But there we go. Starting to come back. Devouras being a bit more aggressive. We might have a shield coming out. Player 1. Lovely positioning on that shield, being nice and aggressive. Knockout from both teams, though. Still, everything to play for. Only 1 point in it. Wolfpack staying calm. The energy levels are through the roof right now. Lovely work from the Devouras, pulling it back. 5-all, 20 seconds left. Could go either way. Okay, we've got a shield call coming in. So the Devouras getting shouted from the side to use their shields. Give them a second, maybe get a point. 10 seconds left. Countered by a Wolfpack, also using their shields. Wolfpack manages to get a point. Not long left. Devouras need to push. They're calling player 6. Can they get the knockout? Player 6 knows he's getting targeted. He's dodging massively. Oh. Again, a really minor change, but all Wolfpack did there was switch positions of people on the court. Again, to avoid that situation I discussed where maybe the person opposite them has got their iron on them. All it takes is a bit of a redistribution of the players, and the Devouras absolutely played brilliantly there. Both teams, I mean, that was the closest game I think we've had today from a perspective. That could have gone either way, all the way. So well played to both of those teams. I mean, the way this tournament is going to work is effectively these final games where they're fighting for position are going to be the closest teams against each other because that is how this works. So we shall see if that carries on through. Oh, I need to get more commentary with a teammate because this commentary on my own, I get my heart rate up through the roof because I'm getting too engrossed and excited whilst commentating. Hopefully you are enjoying it at home. Looking at some of these stats here, we had a player 6 in that game getting 3 knockouts for 42% accuracy. Player 4 getting 71 shots out at charge rate 4, 68 points. I mean, basically very well-balanced teams in that last game. Some good movement all round. So up next, we are going to have the War Pigs in red, also wearing red, from Wales, against Team No in blue. Can't remember what colour they're wearing. Slightly grey, there we go. So that's Alfie on the pitch right now, a very good player. You can't see, but that's fine. You don't need to see. But yeah, basically, the money is on No here. They are probably a more experienced team, but War Pigs all year have been just growing and growing and putting more and more pressure on the opposition. So I don't have any favourites, but the underdog story is getting to me. I want War Pigs to win this. We shall see. This also stood next to me, so maybe I'm saying that like that. But yeah, War Pigs, I don't know what tax is going to happen here because Team No and War Pigs both able to pull out different stuff. I think what War Pigs definitely have a guy that's a technician, and they'll probably stick with that because it means that effectively, if he's also very good at firing a lot of shots. So if Team No do decide to go for a shield build, that technician is going to be absolutely just knocking it down. Team No could just go for a straight shootout. They're currently on the court, not giving anything obvious away. So I'm not too clear on what tactic they're going to be doing. I think they're trying to work out what War Pigs are going to be doing. So here we go, 5 seconds. And here we go. So Team No on the right, War Pigs in red on the left. Here we go. Okay, we've got a shield build coming out. Interesting, of War Pigs. That is unusual. Do not have their technician in. Will Team No be able to deal with it? Okay, so far, not very many shots coming out of War Pigs because they're trying to build up some energy and not give away. Player 3 in the middle of War Pigs being absolutely targeted by the opposite team. They've probably identified him as a weakness in terms of dodging. But player 1, you cannot leave him alone. He's going to come in across and try and get you knocked out. Okay, shields up. But the Welsh team not using the shield. There we go. Okay, so player 2 using a good position. So this is the moment where War Pigs need to come back from it. Now, I do feel that there was a bit of a lack of cohesion in the War Pigs play where they came to using those shields. Player 2 did some good position on them, but then the other 2 teammates didn't get behind it. Team No absolutely just dodging their hearts out whilst trying to take those shields down quickly. They do have a technician in player 4, so player 4's job is just to target those shields and get it down. Now, at this point, Team No is almost certainly going to win this round because the shielder on the War Pigs is mostly out shields, and so his effectively energy orbs aren't going to be very good at shooting the opposition. They are definitely targeting player 3 to try and get those points off player 3, who's in a tough spot, being in the middle of the pitch. Player 1 not able to take advantage of that distraction, not being able to get any of those knockouts.
What would I do different? I would put the player that's in the middle of Warpigs on one of the sides, left or right, and then position them on the opposite side of their other player that's shooting. And what that might enable you to do is when they turn to shoot at that player that they're obviously trying to target, it'll allow you to push up down the other side, using that as a distraction to get some cross shots. If you find the other enemy team are targeting one person more than others, basically your best bet is just use them as a distraction at that point. Unfortunately, what it does mean is that player is going to have to dodge more. So, good accuracy coming out of Team No there. Knockouts across the board. Player 4 probably the weakest. I think that's their technician. He would have spent most of their time knocking down the shields when they went up. Again, good shield positioning from the Warpig shields. Just unfortunately a lack of cohesion in respect of getting then their teammates behind those shields to use them to best effect. This is going to be a tough one for the Warpigs to come back from now. The question is what they're going to do. Are they going to switch it up? Are they going to go technicians? Are they going to go shields again? If they do shields again, I think they could maybe shield the player that was being targeted as heavily last time, and that might be the play. And again, do that on one side of the court with the intention of freeing up the other player on the far side of the court to do cross shots. The problem is Team No are an experienced team, so if they try that, there's a very good chance that they'll just take those shields down quickly and also still just get knockouts on the person that's out and open. They didn't target the other player that much in that last game, but it doesn't mean that they can't. And if you basically are more concerned about the threat, it's a balancing act. Do I shoot the person that's good at shooting and then therefore take them out to lower the opposition team's ability to hurt our team? Or do I target the person who is least good at dodging, thereby getting a very high point lead? I feel in that last game, that's what they did. They went, we're going to target that person. We think they're less good at dodging. They are also one of the people that's trying to get us knocked out. So let's take advantage of that. But again, could go either way. Again, I'll be interested to see if Warpigs use the technician role instead. That is the only change they might maybe do. But again, favourites coming into this are Team No, and after that first victory, it's going to be tough for Warpigs to pull it back. I mean, I hope they do, because we like the underdog stories. All right, here we go. Okay, so they've had a change out in the Warpigs players. So they've traded out one of their players that was being targeted heavily last time, and then they've replaced him with who the person is who I think is their technician. So it'll be interesting to see if they do a shield technician assassin build loadout, or if they do something else. Oh, there's a technical issue, and the ref's calling out. They've only got 10 seconds, trying to keep things moving. The thing is, in the olden days, you used to let players swan around all over the place, and game breaks would go on for minutes at a time. The tech works quite well generally, but I think there might be a situation where somebody's not logged in properly. So, here we go. Getting a bit of a nudge. It's number 85 there going, get in the match. The ref could choose to start the game without them being in, at which point it would be 2-on-3, which would be a bit mean, but it is the way it goes sometimes. Here we go. All on the line here for Team No, wanting to take hold of that third position. Warpigs wanting to advance, however, not going to let them get it easily. Okay, so no shields from either side, which basically means this is a straight shootout. We do have a technician in player 3 on the Warpigs, so he's going to take those shields down quickly. So this is going to come down to... See, the thing is, Team No here are spreading their shots around a bit more because they don't have that player that they identified as the weak player from last time. So this moment they're targeting player 2. I think that might be a mistake because player 2 is actually doing quite a good job at dodging. Player 1 needs to try and take advantage of that. The thing is, every time player 1 tries to move forwards, Team No do a bit of a volley towards him. So they're trying to say, no, don't come forwards. Keep back in that corner. Player 2 and 1 both trying to push, trying to get knockouts. Team No are doing a really good job here at basically nullifying whoever's the biggest threat to them at any one time. You can see there, player 1 doing a quick step forward. Player 2, brilliant work, getting a shield up. Excellent dodging from Team No, though. Literally a guy straight in front of them, only a few metres away from them, and they're still managing to dodge an assassin orb at that range. Is absolutely brilliant dodging coming from Team No. 10 seconds left on the clock. Warpigs doing a really good job. 0-2 against Team No is impressive. Knockout. Can they still turn it around? A few seconds left. Lovely work. I mean, again, what I want to shout out is the Warpigs' aggression was all good. Like, basically, pushing forward to those front lines to try and get those knockouts. You need to do it at that point. And Team No staying cool, calm, and collected, and effectively doing a really good job at targeting whoever was the biggest threat at any one particular time, and basically keeping War Pigs back, not letting them take the ground in the middle. I think No was more confident at their longer range accuracy, and so rather than needing to push the front line, they were more happy to basically hang back. And as War Pigs extended themselves forward to try and get closer, that's where they then knocked them out. And that comes from that early point lead. Only getting 1 point early on, player 4 put all the pressure on the War Pigs at that point forward to make moves. And sometimes, if you make a move where you push to the front line, it opens up a counter attack from the opposite team. But again, War Pigs, I'm going to give them credit because opening up an aggressive play like that is really tough, because effectively what you saw is both sides of the court both pushing forwards at the same time, because you can't leave one of your teammates to just go forwards on their own. So War Pigs doing an absolutely amazing job at dodging and shooting them. So we are coming up to our final match. So this final match is going to be the one to determine who is the winner here at the UK Championships. We've got the ranked 1 previously Oblivion team that's going to be on red on the left. And then you've got Warp Star, who have raised themselves through the ranks in this match from 3 to 2. So they're basically going to come at least second. But can they have an upset and overthrow Team Oblivion? We shall see. Oblivion obviously had a commanding first game today. But since then, have had some tougher matches. Warp Star, we know, like a tactic with a shield. So, will Warp Star stick with their current setup, where they're trying to shield one of their players who's an assassin, whilst their other player, who currently is player 4, does a really good job at the opposite side of the court? Now, the advantage of this play style is they have a very set rules as to what they're doing, but it gives them a lot of area to work in, because what they're doing is effectively leaving almost all of the court to player 4 at the point they've got those 2 players in the front corner doing the shields. So I think their shielder, if they are going to do it, is on this closest left-hand side of the court on the blue team. So if they are going to do it, expect the shields to go up there. Now, I'm pretty certain Oblivion has a couple of the players from the actual England team who went out to the World Cup in China early in the year. So they are a very good team. They're very strong. They've played on literally the hardest international stages. So pressure isn't going to be a thing. Well, it is going to be a thing here. But I don't think anyone's going to fold. We shall see, however, because when you play at a high level, sometimes that can put more pressure on yourself. All right, so we do have a shield coming out of player 6. We've got a shield coming out of player 2, so it's going to be a counter shield play. So what's going to happen is when they put their shields up, they're going to counter with shields. So player 2 is the shielder. They know that player 6 is the shielder on the far side. So player 2 is going to be watching player 6. Now, who's going to be the first to put the shield down? I think they're both going to go at about 40 seconds because they know that that's when they like doing it. Oblivion getting an early point lead is going to do them a favour when it gets to this second stage of the counter shield play, because if they can keep player 5 nullified at the moment, who's the biggest threat, okay, player 2 going in with the first shield. That means player 6 is going to come across. Player 6 does a really good job of doing a cross-shot one, however. Really smart. Trying to not just go straight toe-to-toe, trying to get the player in a position, and it works. Player 3 getting a knockout. So, some really good shield work here. Shield's actually being played better, in my opinion, by Warp Star than Oblivion. This could go in Warp Star's favour at this point. But player 5 being forced back, doing a very good job of getting out of there when he realised the shields were going down. And Oblivion doing an absolutely amazing job of just nullifying those shields. They've got a technician on their team who does have 4 charges, but it's 2-all. Anyone to play for. Both teams very balanced on stats. So this is going to come down to who's got the best dodging, who's got the best shooting. 7 seconds. If it goes to overtime, this is going to be tense. Lovely work from player 4 there. Just doing a nice slide in, getting a shield up. Oh my God. Overtime. So they'll be having a very quick breather, working out who they're targeting. Oblivion just very quickly having a chat there on the left. I would expect player 5 to be targeted here. Lovely shield. I didn't realise I had one left. Player 5 needs to get behind that shield and use it. Player 4 pushing forward though. Okay, now no shields left. Oh my gosh. Absolute upset. Brilliant work from Warp Star. I'll be honest, I would have targeted player 5. But, because in my opinion, he's one of the strongest shooters on their team. But it was actually player 4 getting a knockout, so maybe I'm wrong. Player 4, 95 shots fired. So that's a technician who, in the final section, was able to get a knockout on the opposite team. 95 shots in a round is very good against 82. So I think the technician is playing better than the technician on the other team. Shield play, I would say that the shields were done better by Warpstar than they were done by Oblivion. Oblivion basically tried to counter Warpstar, going, we know what tactic you're going to do, we're going to do the same tactic back. But like that actually worked in Warpstar's favour because they are a master of that tactic. And the reason I say they did it better is effectively Oblivion got through their shields and put them all up too quickly. And the problem is when you do that, it takes time. Those shields can drop over time. So if you put them up quickly, rather than staggering them one at a time, what generally happens is the shields will drop quicker as an overall. And so what that meant is Warpstar was able to keep one shield in reserve for overtime, which is very rare. That takes a level of dedication to that tactic that I wouldn't have expected, to be perfectly honest, at this level. Warpstar did a brilliant job at basically remaining calm. Now, Warpstar's going to keep the same tactic. What Oblivion need to think about doing, if I was them, I would consider getting my technician up to level 5 charge rate. I preferred level 5 charge rate. The downside of that is as a technician, you then are less able to get knockouts. And as we proved in that last game, team player number 4 on the Warpstar is the technician. Him having 4 charge was still enough to get 90-odd shots out and still get a knockout. Okay, here we go. Same play, shield versus shields. It's a repeat, but they're just going to do it better, is the plan. Oblivion, remaining calm, sticking with their current strategy. Trying to target the shield player, actually, which is interesting, and player 4. Trying to keep the pressure on the shielder to stop the shielder from coming forwards. I think they might have identified the shielder as at least good at dodging. That'll be based on... Lovely early point there. Lovely early shields. Now, be patient with those shields. Okay, slightly too quick on the shields there from Oblivion. I do think that if Warpstar can get these shields down quickly, they've even managed to get a point, but the point's returned by Oblivion. If they can get these shields down, the favour might end up being in the favour of Warpstar again, because the shields have gone out too quick. But a lovely hold back one shield from Oblivion, better than last time, means that they've still got a potential here. Player 5 looking for those shots onto player closest to the pitch. Should have done some cross shots maybe. 20 seconds. It's going to come down to the dodging. Player 4, they're looking to move up the pitch to try and get some cross shots on, but it's not working. Player 5 doing an absolutely amazing job dodging. Shielders at this point, not much use, but still firing some shots. Player 5 is being targeted. That's because Oblivion know that that's where the threat is. That's the assassin. All they need to do is keep Player 5 moving. It makes it very difficult for Player 5 to shoot. Player 5 doing an amazing job coming forwards. Okay, so fair cop. 3-2, so close. Player 5, right, doing an amazing job there. I'm going to give them a shout out because they were being so pressured at the end there that basically they were still able to dodge and come forward. The only criticism I would have for Player 5 is when you're in those shields trying to maybe do some more cross shots. People are getting drawn into the person in front of them. Again, Oblivion's shielder doing a really good job in that game to hold one shield back, allowing them to basically weather the storm a bit later. Whereas the first time they went through all their shields really quickly, this time they went through 4 and kept 1 as a reserve, which is really good and really helped. Such a close game, though. This is the final that we wanted. 2 teams at the peak of their game, playing extremely well. Now, are we going to see a repeat? Are they going to stick with the shields? I have no clue. The problem is both these teams are good enough that they could change it up. I think the chances are they're going to stick with the same thing. I don't know. It's tough to say. If they don't, I would say that if Oblivion come out and do switch it up from that last game, they should definitely make sure they have a technician, because the chances are the chance of a shield is high. So both teams definitely need to keep a technician in there because they allow you to adjust. I mean, Warpstar are probably going to stick with the same loadout. I love the idea that they just switch it up to a straight shootout. That would be the dramatic thing to do, but I think it wouldn't be in their favour. So I think we are going to have just a straight repeat of last game. Again, so there you go. The pressure becomes on the shooters at this point, if that is the repeat. So this is a very good match to watch. You've got a shielder, you've got a technician, you've got an assassin, and everyone's got to do their bits. And at the point where the shields become less relevant towards the end, the assassins are the most important players and the technicians because they can still get those knockouts. I have seen a shielder who had 1 in both of their start stats get a knockout, but it's very rare. Okay, got a ref call coming out. They've got 10 seconds left. They need to put their stats in, otherwise he's going to start it without them. No shenanigans here from the refs. They're like, let's get this on. Oh, are we going to have an issue here? Oh, there we go. Tracking, picking up just at the last second, and the ref is starting the game. This is the final game of this tournament, and it's for the final. Let's see. Okay, so it's change up. Oblivion going for a straight shoot. Other team going for a shield play. So more pressure on player 5 and player 4, getting a knockout early on. Now the question is, can Warstar weather the storm long enough to get those shields up? The answer is not so much at the minute, because player 5 is absolutely getting dominated by 3 team players all trying to shoot at them. And by nullifying 4 and 5, they're getting a very early point lead. So even if the shields come out at about 40 seconds, that might be too late. I would suggest going early with the shields if I was Warstar right now, because you need to start getting a points victory, because psychologically it's going to be really tough to come back from this. Oblivion showing their masters of their abilities here. Now, shields gone up. They need to just take those shields down. They've got 2 technicians, so they should be able to take those shields down very quickly. They've only got to sustain a few seconds of dodging, maybe 30, 40 seconds at max. Do throw a cross shot at player 4 occasionally, because you don't want to leave him there completely undefended. But again, the technicians on the Oblivion team doing an absolutely amazing job. If player 5 stays there, he's going to get knocked out in a fraction of a second, because that shield's going to disappear in moments. Brilliant work there from Team Oblivion, absolutely taking those shields down in record time. Now, this is what the counter you needed to Warstar. 2 technicians and an assassin is what I said earlier would be the way to beat this. However, Warstar still in it. 3-6. When, I mean, I'm going to give Warstar a shout out. All 3 of their points were coming out of player 4 in the second half of the game, right? That's really tough when they're under the most pressure. So for me, that player played brilliantly. So that is it. Oh, got to get my heart rate down. We will be doing some talking out on the court in a minute, because I'm going to be doing some presentations. But that was a very exciting final. In first place, we've got Oblivion. In second place, we've got Warpstar. Third place, we've got Then we've got fourth place is Warpigs. Fifth place is Wolfpack. Sixth place, Devourers. Seventh place is BSOD. And then eighth is War Piglets. So, little bit of a change around in the rankings there, as Team No get knocked down to rank 3. But let's have a look. Has anyone else changed position? Wolfpack up to 5th place. I think they were in 6th previously. So yeah, Wolfpack and Devourers have switched around positions. And yep. Otherwise, BSOD staying in the same position, War Piglets staying in the same position. So absolutely well played from both teams. Well, sorry, all teams fundamentally today. I'm going to grab my microphone and probably head out onto the court to try and talk through some bits over there in a second. Hopefully you've enjoyed the games. We will be doing some announcements of who won through the year, because we've got various trophies that we're going to be giving out. So I've got to get my notes up to make sure I've got the stuff correctly. But yeah, thanks very much. This has been brilliant. Let's see who's won what. If you do want to get into HADO and you live near Coventry, come down to the Coventry Arena, because it's a brilliant venue area. It's got HADO on all the time. It's got a gym downstairs as well, which I come and work out in. So there you go. You can see me there sometimes. All the teams here playing absolutely brilliantly. The Welsh 2 teams, War Pigs and War Piglets, playing brilliantly as well. Yeah, and we're going to switch over to our next section. All right. Hopefully I'm back on. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm here on the court. Please apologies for looking at my things, but I am going to be calling out some teams for various stuff. So, trophy stuff. This is my notes. Can I get the Spring Cup winners, which was Team Synergy, to come to the pitch? Well, I can see one of them running around at the moment. I do need you over here. So if you're in Synergy, come up here. I realise Synergy didn't play today.
Come over, Synergy. So these guys won the Spring Cup. Here is your trophy. I think you already got it earlier in the year. So we've got Ash, Shamai, and Fabian. So Ash and Shamai are two of our excellent coaches here as well. So thank you very much for coaching. I see that you weren't playing today. But Team Synergy wins the Spring Cup. Thank you very much. Hey! Nice round of applause. Get a picture. Right, while they're taking a picture, I'm standing here. I'm going to have a look at my notes. What have we got? So, are you happy now?
Are we happy now?
Yeah. Cool. Right. Okay, next up, we're going to get the Summer Cup winners. Team No. Team No, if you could come up. Now, I was trying to give a shout out to Team No. Apologies for not giving you a cup sooner, but we actually do have a trophy for you. Here we go. Team No, here's your well-deserved trophy. In fact, there we go. Team Synergy and Team No teamed up. But well played. Well played. Okay, so after the Summer Cup winners, we've got a Rising Star team. So this is a team that's being voted on. The coaches and the staff behind the scenes, so the production team, to basically is the team has shown the greatest level of improvement over the year. So over all three of the 2025 matches, we basically have War Pigs. If War Pigs could please come up. Coming in at the start of the year, being in last place and playing absolutely brilliantly. I believe we do actually have a trophy for you as well. Come on over, come on over. Thank you very much, War Pigs. Good job. All right. Final things. We got everyone behind me. Final thing. Well, not final thing. Second to final thing. In fact, hang on a second. Have you sent me a note on who this is? Give me a second. Okay, so this was just finalised today. So this is for the player of 2025 who has shown the greatest improvement across the year. So again, similar to the last one, this is who's improved throughout the year. Did you say Alistair? Can I get Alistair, please? Well done, Alistair. Here is a medal for you. Alistair was also the MVP at the Home Nations. Thank you very much. All right. Really good player. Who have we got next? So, finally, can we get the UK champions who've just won today? If you can come up. Who was it? I've forgotten. It was Oblivion, wasn't it? To be expected. Oblivion, please come on over. Alright guys, so hey, these are the UK champions for this year's trophy, which is a very big trophy, so well done. Have you guys got anything you would like to say to anyone at home? Anyone want to be the team captain for a quick interview? Right. Alistair, go on, say something.
Come to HADO.
Nice. All right, good sales pitch. We like it. Thank you very much to our UK champions, and thank you to all of the players, and all of the crowd, and all of the viewers. Well done. And I think we can probably call it there. Hopefully they've cut the feed, but if they haven't, I'm just going to keep talking. But anyway, good job, everyone. Well done. Well played.